You can just simply call me Eben. I just like being called by my local name, Kwame. Kwame Wache is an ideal that I want to be called. And I just completed my second master's degree at Indiana State University in Student Affairs and Higher Education. Currently, I am gotten admission to doctoral program, so I'm looking forward to start PhD in either higher education or curriculum and instruction. Both of them, both of them can be possible. So I'm just that's the way forward now. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Kingsford, please can we hear from you? A quick introduction.
Yeah, quick one. Yeah. So my name is Kingsford. I'm sure you might have seen my name online, one way or the other. So Godwin happens to be my boss, Professor Dr. Godwin. Yeah, Dr. Jima. Yeah. So I did my master's in economics at Eastern Illinois University, where Dr. Godwin completed. And I'm currently at the University of North Carolina doing my doctoral degree in public policy, but with a concentration in economic policy. So I'm in my second year right now. I'm going to my second year right now. That is that for now. Thank you.
Thank you. So just a quick caution. All the people that we have here are individuals who are in a PhD program or a master's program, or they are done with programs within the US. When someone saw Esther School, the person was like, oh, wow, in Mexico? No, that's also an institution in the US. And so for today, our focus will be more on the US institutions within the United States. However, that notwithstanding, over time, we look forward in sharing other information that might also cut across other institutions as well. And most of the information that we'll be sharing today are more geared towards study abroad for US, Canada, and other places, even though there are some other specifics that goes into each of these institutions and the specific countries as well. And so a quick start, before we zoom into the specific presentation by our panel members, I would want to just provide the opportunity for our panel members to share their experience. First of all, you had the opportunity to stay in Ghana. I know that some of us were even working when we were in Ghana. Some of us were making big money, a huge amount of money. So what informed your decision to even pursue this study abroad as a career path? And then beyond that, what experience can you also share with us as individuals who are hoping to also submit an application? Is there anything that you've ever regretted or something that you think is worth pursuing? So any of our panel members can start and then the others will continue.
Well, I can start. I think that yes, this journey is worth pursuing. It has never been a regret, but never cheap as well. It needs resilience. You really need to be determined that you really want it. It is not like I just compared myself because among our equals, like Godwin was my roommate, Dr. Jima was my roommate, and the program mate, my brother, friend, everything that we've been like this since the one we met at Casford. So we did the same program, and he has been one inspiration to me. And like he can attest to it that at first, like I am just like that type of person who goes for anything. Like when I get my grade B plus and B's, I'm okay. Where Godwin was getting the A's, and so he was our best student during our time at the first class. I think he was one of the top first classes while we were having the second class. But nevertheless, it wasn't like you had a lower brain. Just that you when you felt that you don't feel any push, but at some point in time, I felt like you really need to also move forward because this is not your level. You should cushion yourself. So we get inspiration. And the situation I also found myself in was like, no, I think that I need to break a certain shell within the family so that I can attain a certain level where we can also help our parents to gear up our siblings. So the level that I was in Ghana, I completed my first and master's degree in first master's in Ghana, where I was teaching at the college level at NG College of Education. but still, I was never satisfied. I did my life as if as a Kumasi boy who has traveled to NG, but I never felt okay living that standard. So I needed to move forward. And I got PhD admissions and masters alike. So where I got the funding is what moved me. I got the funding with the masters, and the PhD funding was delaying. So okay, why don't go? At some point, I felt like no, let me wait for a PhD. But Godwin was like, no, boy, move. This will get you what gets you coming is what is important. So I got the master's admission and I came, and I've never regretted that opportunity. And I think that it really grounded me now. When I start my PhD in August, I feel like I am well grounded in the system, and I can give this kind of counseling and other stuff to people. So I think it's worth it, but you really need motivation, self-motivation, and guidance. That's important for your journey. Thank you.
Interesting one. Can we hear from the others?
Yeah, my journey starts from, I think, right back in 2014, where my senior brother told me that there's opportunity to study abroad. But then I was struggling with my CGPA. I did all my best, but it could not revive. I remember that my CGPA never increased since level 200 until the last semester. I was fortunate to get some extra 2 points to raise me to the just second class lower from University of Cape Coast, where I read chemistry. So I got 2.5. It shattered my dream, and I thought that that was the end of it all. So my first day of national service, I've met with one person that I've been there as an intern before, and he asked me whether what were my dreams. I told him I could pursue further education, but because of my CGPA, he encouraged me that it's still possible, because when I convert my CGPA to US, I could get 3.0. I did that, and we started. He was also applying, and he encouraged me. So we did a couple of applications to the EU countries, Australia. It was very difficult. He made it in 2018, but I have to stay back. And then I realized that maybe my CGPA wasn't all that competitive to study get a full funding in the US. And most of the schools too, if they will not give you funding, they don't even give you admission. Some of the programs, that's how they are structured. So I decided to pick another route, and then I chose Germany, and I went there, finished my master's in 3.5 years. Was very difficult one. I gained a lot of experience working while schooling, and I mean, it gave me the opportunity, because I had research background, to come here and then continue my education here. I would think that it's a life fulfilling. I've not regretted making this journey, because I have been able to help others to also to achieve such dreams, and also financially I have not lost. So it's worth pursuing such a dream. Thank you.
All right, let me go. Forgive me if you hear baby sounds in the background, because I have two little ones that I can't do anything about. So that is it, if you hear any baby sounds. Okay, so my decision to pursue graduate studies abroad began in 2015, when I was selected by the US Embassy in Ghana to pursue as an exchange program, yes, at the University of Connecticut. So when I returned to Ghana, I had made up my decision that definitely I am going to go back to the US to pursue my graduate education. But then I made a very big mistake, which I hope none of you today present would make that same mistake. You know, sometimes when you want to do some of these things, it is good that you do the research yourself. You may get people advising and all of that, but the best thing you can do for yourself is to search and dig for information yourself. So in as much as I wanted to pursue graduate studies abroad, all my energies were geared towards the United Kingdom and then Canada, because I had been brainwashed that I need to have a GRE score before I could go to the United States. And so all my attention and all applications were to UK and then Canada. I would definitely get the admission, which was just like straightforward because one, I had a first class from UCC, but you know, you would get just partial funding, and the amount of money that I needed in order to make that up wasn't something I was going to be able to raise. So it's really weighed me down until 2021, when I did my own research and realized that no, it is not every school in the United States and even every program that requires a GRE. So I consulted Dr. Jima, who is also here today. And then he was like, oh no, some of the schools in the US, you don't need to have a GRE score. So just try your best. And that very year, I tried and I had my admission. But then came also that I was pregnant and wanted to give birth in Ghana before I traveled, because I didn't have anybody who was going to give me that support when I came to the United States with that pregnancy. So I had to stay behind and then come in 2022. But trust me, the journey through the United States has been a very fulfilling one that I wish I had made earlier. So that is it. And I believe that everybody is capable of making that same dream come true. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Esther. Thank you, Senior Moses and Senior Ben and Dr. Jima for this opportunity. I just remember last year we did this same session, and this year too we are doing it. And you know, if you know Isaac, my coursemate back at AIU, he mentioned that you used to do this thing. In 2021 as well, whereby it was through one of your sessions that a friend recommended AIU that he came to US. So you've been a blessing. You've been touching life. So let me just thought to let you know. So thank you for the opportunity. So for my story, it began back in high school. When I finished my WASI, they selected me. I mean, I was fortunate to be selected for Mastercard scholarship at KNUST. So we were 6 students, and I was the one who coordinated the scholarship because I was staying in Sunyani and my friends were outside of Sunyani. So I coordinated everything, and sadly, I was selected for the initial phase, but I didn't qualify for the subsequent phase. So I didn't get through it. So I was really saddened. But proud to that, I was doing my best. Let me read the story. I was doing my best, but it looks like my WASI results were not all that good. I had like 6 B's, 1 A, and English C4. So from a low tier school, I did well, but it was not that strong. So that opportunity made me realize that if I should go into my undergrad and do very well, you know, things there can be some good, things at the end. So I had some, like, it was like a blurry vision. It's like in Chi, me find say I say, so me call university now me hear me who like I can, you know, reap something what positive, right? And proud to that, or before I even continue with this story, as someone in my high school, I was asking my teachers, like my chemistry teachers. I remember one of my chemistry teachers, he was called Butane, very brilliant. I was like, why are they still here? Why is it that you are so brilliant, but you are still stuck in this high school system? You've taught for about 10 years, 15 years. What is it that is keeping them here for 2000, Ghana cedis or whatever? As at high school, I was asking, like, I realized that they could do so much more. There was this burning sensation within me that I realized that it is more than Ghana, not just about traveling, but life is more than what we are saying. So in a nutshell, I had this burning sensation within me, but I didn't really know what it was. So when I finished my high school, I had some awards back in high school, what have you, but the WASI affirmed that actually, if I put in the effort, I could get something at the end. So right in university, first year, I was fortunate. The GPA I began with was a GPA I concluded with by, I think, 0.02 difference. Yeah. So I began with 3.7. I finished with 3.7. So I got into the university with all zealousness, like with all hunger and that desire. Then, fortunately, to make it simple, I met some of my TAs who traveled, and Charlie, I was like, oh, so this thing day. Then that, open up the study abroad journey. I've compressed the story. I don't want to make it lengthy, but all that I'm trying to say is that I had this sensation that I didn't really know what it was, but I knew that life was more than what the Ghanaian society had pictured for me, or pitched for me. Yeah, thank you.
Interesting. Yeah, so if I look at my journey, personally, I would say that I wasn't interested in a study abroad journey. So God, I was good. It is more of a no joke for me. But financially, and so I was more into the dream of what most of us as Ghanaians we share. Go to school, after school, get a job, and then once you get a job, maybe get married. After getting married, you can then start making money. And because back during my undergrad days, I went for a student loan, it became more of a burden on me. In that I knew that if I decide to choose any route about study, it was going to be difficult for me to. But God being so good, one school back then, admission, and then later on, I got funding. And if you ask me as to whether there has ever been any regret in my life, I don't recount any half or even a single regret when it comes to me pursuing this study abroad journey. And those who know me, sometimes some of my friends will be like, oh, you are a true reflection of the favor and the grace of God, which personally is more of a testimony that I have. Looking at my journey, I knew that because financially things were not good at home, to even start or complete masters was going to be very difficult. But God being so good, I move on from bachelor's to master's, and then from master's to PhD, and by the grace of God, I was able to get a PhD done. And not just that, but even after I was done with a PhD, God being so good, I had the opportunity to also get a job. And so, as a person from nowhere, a nobody, a woodcutter, someone without any special financial background, but through that perseverance, continuously pushing, and through the grace of God, here I am today. And so personally, together with some of my other friends, I've had this dream that as part of my way or my vision of touching lives or supporting other individuals, this is a session that we intend to be organizing as a free session with my core idea of supporting other people in the society. I know that there are many of us with a huge potential in Ghana and other parts of the world, but how do we even get the opportunity to transcend boundaries and have that opportunity to enter into the US? And now, here we are, hoping that a time will come, the opportunity will come, where we will move on towards that opportunity to become who we are. There was a time at Pensa UCC, that in Pensa UCC, there's something that we call mega offering. And then when I went to the room, I brought all the amount that I had on me. And I wrote on a sheet of paper that I wanted to become a professor in the future. And then after, when the offering was over, when I went to my room, there was this little voice, I call it the devil's voice, that was telling me that, look at how stupid you've been. You to become a professor, you've given them all your money, when you could have used the money for something else. But God being so good, He has shaped me over the past years and then taken me towards the journey of where I wish and hope to be. So my admonishment or my encouragement for you today is that you can, as you continue to press on, as you continue to push on. Sometimes it becomes so difficult. It comes with a lot of pains, struggles, and others. But with faith and perseverance, I know that you can. I don't think any of us here True faith, persisting. Yeah. So the next session, we have multiple sessions. You can take over for the next 15 minutes.
Please, I don't know whether I was lost. Did you invite me?
Yes, please.
Okay. Maybe my internet. Yeah. So my session here is to take you through how to search for schools, because if you don't know any school, how do you even apply? Okay, but before I start, I will tell you that there are so many information on the internet. There are so many people who are creating content, who are giving information. They are very good. I want to recommend our brother here who is doing well. His name is Kingsford. He's part of the panel. He's creating very good content on YouTube. You can follow his channel and then learn more. But whatever he's doing is whatever he has learned, okay, and then he's bringing out, okay. So sometimes the information will be put out there. Okay, there's a school here with this amount of scholarship, okay, you go and then your program is not there. You hear another one here on Instagram, Facebook, you've watched a lot of videos, but you are not getting your school, okay. What is the solution? The solution is what I'm going to present. So that would be the aim of my presentation. So I'll share my screen with you and walk you through some few stuffs you need to do for yourself. Okay, so just give me some few seconds and I'll be there. Yeah, so can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you so much. So I'm going to walk you through for the schools, how to search for your program, okay, and then schools. Let's take it that you don't know any school at all. You don't know any name, okay. So you want to look for schools. So I mean, what are the steps? Sorry for my typo here, but what are the steps involved, okay, in searching for schools? The first one is that you need to gather your documents. Okay, what are the documents? I think some people may cover that aspect, but you need all your educational documents. Don't exclude any. If you're looking for a school and they say, okay, your WASI is not needed, you just put it aside. But you need to gather everything. Okay, just get everything to go. Sometimes you need to search for schools, okay, and then in your school you check whether there is a program. At least I know that there's a 90% probability that you'll get your program, okay, but is your program funded? It's not just about your program. Maybe you could even pursue that program well in Ghana or in Africa. Okay, but the problem is that some of them are not funded. So check whether there is funding for your program. And then when there is funding for your program, match your qualification. Okay, check whether you match the qualification, the requirement. Okay, so they need maybe people with 3.0. Do you have 3.0? Maybe you don't have 3.0, but you have research, you have qualification, publication that can help you. Okay. Maybe you don't qualify for that. You move to another school. So it doesn't mean that that is the end. Go to other schools. You may get other one. And then sometimes you may have to write what we call code emails, depending on which level you are targeting. In most of the programs, they are looking for PhD. Most of them, especially when it comes to the life sciences and then the STEM programs, okay, but dependent, you check the requirement. They will tell you whether you can go directly from bachelor's to PhD or you have to get a master's first, okay. Then you apply and submit your required document, and then you continue to stay updated with the department looking for admissions. Sometimes some of the schools you just need admissions, and then you can apply for the graduate school for the funding. So this is a snapshot of how you look for funding, but let me just take you through some of the components that I have listed here. So yeah, so assuming that you want to know the schools, you don't have any school. There are some people who can tell you, okay, this school, that school, yeah, that's fine. It's the information they have received in the past, okay? But you don't need to dwell on only that information. For example, there's one person who shared that in before 2017 to 2019, a lot of people went to University of New Mexico, okay, and a lot of they give the information. Oh, they like Ghanaians, they are picking, and in fact, a lot of good people were just applying. Number of people from UCC were just applying. A time came that even first class people were not getting admissions over there. So the information you see on the internet or on other YouTube pages is good. It tells you there's something there, but you need to also own your own information. Okay, so what do? What I just think is that maybe pick it in Ghana. You want to look at the universities from region by region. Okay, so you go to the internet, type, okay, regions in Ghana. Okay, when you type it, okay, you're able to get the regions. So maybe you say universities in Accra. Okay, so first of all, when you get the state in USA, you also be able to know. So from one state, then you check the universities in those states. Okay. Now there are three major types of university, even though there are other ones, or let's say four. Okay, we have the public university, the private, the liberal arts colleges, and the community colleges. But what is more important, okay, the most important is whether it has funding. Okay, even though you may, as somebody coming outside, you may consider the public and the private ones. But if you have a college which offers masters but has funding, especially for international students coming from Africa or somewhere, you may want to consider that. So when you have that, you just want to make sure that, okay, you have a list of schools. So maybe you have a schools from Florida State, okay, then you put it on Google. You are likely to see something like this. Okay, I check it right now with my browser and something changed, but I already have it. The most important thing is not what you see here, but do you know how to search for information using the search engines, Google or whatever? Okay, that is what is important. You have the idea, you know how to search for information. Okay, so when you search it, sometimes this is what you're likely to see. Okay, for example, you see University of Florida, Florida State, blah blah blah, and here you see this place is public. Sometimes you see private. It doesn't matter whether they will give you funding. That's what is the most important thing. Okay, you will see some other information like cost after aid. The cost after aid is like averagely when they give funding, if they give, they divide all the average or the funding per the number of students they have, what is the cost that other students pay after aid. This is a little bit confusing, but it's not that important. Okay, what is more important is the acceptance rate. The acceptance rate is tells you the competitiveness in that school, but it also includes the undergrad. And over here, we are not that much concentrating on the undergrad, so don't let it disturb you that much. But at least look for those that are higher acceptance rates. Okay, for example, 50 onwards is okay, or depending on your qualification. Maybe you have first class, you have publications, you can come, or and you have test scores. You can be accepted at Harvard, okay, even though the acceptance rate is about 7%. Okay, so know yourself. But if you know that you have average as a qualification, go for those with high acceptance rate. So maybe you have, this university, so you pick this university, you go to the university's website. Okay, so you type the university website. Okay, you have checked the acceptance rate, you think everything is okay, so this is what you're going to see. You already know it. Then you move to the home page. Okay, those who are a little bit new to whatever, you have to make sure that the the link is edu, ending with edu, then you know that you are going to the university main page. Okay, so please take note of that. And then you go, mostly when you come to the university page, look for academic session or graduate school. Then you check for the programs. That's where you see the programs. Then you scroll down and see if your program is what there. Okay, the fact that you say, oh, this school is giving has a lot of funding, maybe your program is not there. So if your program is not there, you go and pick the next school. Okay, so you check maybe your program is there. Then you will click on your program, and then for example, maybe you want to do food science. This is a screenshot of what I took. Then you read a little bit about the program, and then this is the program website. So you move to the program website, okay, and then you are there. Okay, so this is the main program website where you can read about the details of the food science and human nutrition department. You look at the programs over there, and then the requirements. So you check the requirement, mostly is 3.0. Everything here is important, but what you need is the requirement first. If you check the requirement and you think you fall into the requirement, for example, over here, 3.0 GRE is not required. Whatever you need is stated here. And then application deadlines, everything is here. Some of the information I just took. And then here, you will see here that English requirement is stated here. Those from Ghana and those from English speaking country are accepted. Okay, you will see here Ghana is accepted here. Those if you school in Ghana, so you don't need IELTS. Okay, in case it is strictly for that you need IELTS or TOEFL or what Duolingo, it's either you provide it or you move to next school. Okay, it's not only one school. Then what you are looking for is whether there is funding. Okay, if you look at the requirement, you you qualify for the requirement and there's no funding, it's not important. You need to go. Okay, so over at the requirement section, if you look at this financial information that I've screenshot here, then this is what it gives you. Say that the department offers graduate teaching assistantship on competitive basis. Assistantship typically provides living stipend plus tuition waiver. An applicant with higher grade average point GRE score. So over there, they said there's no GRE score, but here they are saying strong GRE score. So what we advise people that it is not every school, and most of the schools are even wavering. Okay, but if you have the financial support to write the GRE, I would say go for it. It will boost. It's like a blood booster. It will boost your energy. I think my time is running, and so it means that this program has a funding for it. Now you need to apply your breaks. Now you know that this program you are looking for has funding. So what do? Take time and read the details. My boss told me that read in between the lines and then gather the information you need to gather. Okay, once you think that you qualify, you know that there's assistantship, scholarship, and other financial aid available, not at the graduate school. This is at the department. Okay, so you need to take your time, read it, and then gather the information. And now try as much as possible to send emails to. Yeah, so if you gather information, most of the time what you need is to contact some of the professors involved, because it's very competitive. Some of them will tell you, oh, it's not important for you to contact professors or something like that. Okay, but experience is telling us that those who have professors before admissions, they are able to secure the admissions early and then fund them. For example, I was the one, I benefited that because my professor even is not working in my department, he's working in chemical engineering, but because he had the funding, he just told the professor, the department, that recruit this student for me. I've had interview with the person and then the person is okay. So you look at this and then you look at the professors, the faculty, their research area, and look at how they align those you have experience with, and then try to shoot them email. Okay, If you look at this professor that I didn't show his face, you see that he's saying that feel free to contact me regarding available opportunities for undergraduate, graduate assistantship, postdoctoral research, and then so you see there's opportunity. The person has money, so you try as much as possible to shoot email, and then read about additional stuff over there, and then go back. Okay, go back to, so over here what I advise people to do is to have Excel sheet, so you have the name of the school, the requirement, and then some details you have placed it, you've noticed. Then you go back to the next school at Florida State. Do that. So before you realize, you have a bunch of skills. Okay, so as you send the emails, as you look at the requirement, the application fees, and blah blah blah, I've not covered that because it's a whole lengthy process, but this time we're just doing an introduction to you, so you know that, okay, based on the responses I'm getting, based on my studies, I'm going to apply, or my finances is going to limit me to apply for 6 schools. But you have gotten a lot of schools, and you have done your background check before you do the applications. Okay, and then try as much as possible to do your application very fast. So this is a gist of how to search for schools in the United States. I'll just chip in a little bit for those in Canada. Okay, I'll share my screen with you here. Those who want to pick Canada, there's Canada, thankfully the schools can be found on one website. Okay, I think I have 1 minute, so let me just go through with you. So those in Canada, just type designated learning institution. There's okay, designated learning institution Canada. Okay, then follow this website, go there. When you are there, you scroll down, and then you look at the province. So they've listed everything here. This is a Canadian government website. Okay, then you choose one of the provinces. Okay, when you choose one of the provinces, and then you click on that province. For example, you are in Alberta province. These are the colleges, which institutions you want. The most important thing over here is whether it has a postgraduate work permit. Okay, PGWP. Okay, if the program allows you to get some time to look for a job after school, because you don't want to apply for a school that doesn't have what you call it, work permit, work permit. Okay, so over here you just click here to select that, okay, you want those with programs with postgraduate work permit, and there you see a whole bunch of what institutions. Okay, and then you pick one, go to the school like we did in the US. This one, you go and then check the same requirement, whether they have funding. If they don't have funding, can you, Canada, they have low tuition. If they have low tuition, can you afford it? And then blah, blah, blah. So Canada, you are lucky that you have everything on one platform. Okay, designated learning institution. Don't go and apply for any private institution that is not listed here, and if it is listed here, try to make sure that it has a postgraduate work permit here before you do the application. I think my time is up. I don't want to go more than I've been given. Later on we can share more with you. Thank you so much for your audience.
Thanks so much. So we'll move straight into the next session that will be led by as we go through the sessions. Please write down your questions. Do to write down your questions. If you have any questions for Moses or any quote, now please, Kingsford, you can take over.
Yeah, Prof.
Hello?
Quick one. Your network is really not helping. I don't know if you can check that, but we heard you. I heard you though.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yeah. Yes,
Excellent.
sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Moses. Thank you so much for the session, and I'm so glad we are having diverse experiences. Moses shared his experience of what GPA he had, and also how he was able to go through the process. How Moses had his funding is entirely different. How I had my funding is entirely different. However, they are all the same kind of funding, a graduate assistantship. So I want to first of all let you know that when he was sharing the information, I was reflecting that, at first I thought that this process is very simple. It is simple. However, I realized that the information can be very excessive, not from what he shared, but comprehensively from what I'm going to share, what my boss Ben will be sharing, and what my big sister Esther will be sharing, and my boss Godwin as well. It is a lot. However, just understand that we are all trying to let you know how we all went through it. He is a chemist from a STEM-based background. I am an economist from what? And I mean a social science background. So we are just trying to be able to meet the need of everyone here, but we can't exhaust the entire process. So just take what we're giving you, apply it, and in your own process to you be able to come up with your own experience. So that is what I want to put crossboard. So I'm going to talk about the funding. He has already touched on the funding, but I'm going to just do some 1 or 2 illustration here. And yeah, basically, I'll just wrap up, and then my big sister will take off from there, then Ben, and we will wrap it up today. But before I proceed, my session, I will begin with what we call, let me share my screen. Yeah. I will begin with what we call, hold on. I hope you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can see it, please.
Excellent. Yeah. So I want to, first of all, he has shared about the whole process, like searching for schools. It looks like he has already done the stuff already, but I'm sure others will talk about the document into detail. But mine is more of, I want to talk about the misconceptions. Then I'll go to the funding quickly. So when I say misconception, it's about like the things you have heard about this process that is not true. We've already, in our introduction, already talked about some of these things. However, I just want to emphasize some things. Scholarships are only for the gifted, or my grades aren't good enough. My brother Moses here is a good example. 2.5 did worst evaluation, moved to 3.0, applied. I've had people with 2.98, they didn't do any evaluation, they got in with a full assistantship. I've had people with second class upper, they got in with full funding. So it's all about what did they do different? From my experience, aside the worst evaluation, those individuals write good essays. They are able to communicate what happened that made me have that GPA. I know a school like South Dakota State University, if you had a C, they'll ask you, why did you get that C? What led to that? So your ability to communicate what led you to getting that low GPA in your SOPs can really also make a good statement, and how you're ready to make amends. I know someone who had, I think, second class low or third class in Legon, and currently doing his PhD in economics here. What did he do? He realized that he was a good student, but life happened to him in university. So what did he do? He wrote a GRE to prove that I am a good student, that things didn't just go well. And he had an impressive score, the GRE, I think 160 plus on the quant, and now he's doing his PhD in US. So that's another route. So aside the West, improving your document, your writing samples and stuff, the GRE or GMAT. Another approach to will be also your research prowess. Some people, they're just good, researchers. They may not be good academically, they may have some average GPAs and stuff, but when it comes to research, forget it, they are there. So we will, I just want to emphasize that scholarships are not only for the gifted or supposedly first class students. Yeah. And someone will say it is time consuming and the outcome is uncertain. Some will just give up. What I want to say here is that when you begin this process, block all the negativity. When I began it, and all my friends were like, Charlie, you are putting all your national service allowance into this thing. What if it doesn't work, right? And they meant good to me. They are my good friends. They meant positive. Like, they meant like, oh, you have to balance things. But I was like, my plan, I have only one plan, and that's plan A. If the plan A does not work, I have AI. AI does not work, AIII, AIV, and it's all what? Study abroad. So it has to work. It has to work. I had different plans on how, if my first year didn't work, I was gonna work it out. So be positive, and I'm a believer. So I was still what? I still invested the aspect of what? Christ in this whole process. And there are lots of applicants. My chances are slim. That is why we are here. Yes, he said a very profound thing. I'm a YouTuber. I do content. When you go there, I share schools like Southern Illinois University. It's having over 120K views. I have schools like Western Michigan having crazy views. Is there? When we share these schools, as he said, look at the number of views on such a school. It exceeds the school's population. So when the pool of applicants increases, he said something like during this time, New Mexico, everybody was applying to New Mexico. And it got to a time that even first class students were not getting in. I can give you an example. A school like Ohio University in Athens. This school, literally, once you apply and your GPA was above 3.0, they will give you $16,110 US. Every student that applies will get this money. $16,100 US, yeah. Every student will get this funding. But I got to a point that once people go to know that, oh, this school is giving this money and the deficit was around 14,000, everybody will go and get their visa. We all began applying to that school. So people were just doing videos about it, sharing here and there, and the pool of applicants increased. And when it happens that way, it becomes competitive and the chances become slimmer. So yes, there are a lot of applicants, but there are dynamics. Do you do your search well? Ask yourself. For me personally, any school that was applying to that my TA was there, that would be my last bet. I will do my own search, dig my own schools, apply to my own schools before any other school that my TA or my friend has recommended will be my last option. Right? So that is one that I want to let you know. So if we share a school online or video, we are trying to let you know it is possible. You can also search for similar schools. There are 50 states. He has taught you the step-by-step approach. If you go on my channel, I think that is the most viewed video when it comes to school search on YouTube, when it comes to this process. I did it I started from Alabama to Wyoming, state by state, as he illustrated. If you go to Alabama, you dig. If you go to Canada, I also applied to some schools in Canada. If I go to a province in, let's say, Saskatchewan, all the schools in Saskatchewan, all the schools in Alabama, one after the other. It was cumbersome, but I'll also show you a shortcut when it comes to the funding after my talking. I'm much concerned about this because if I'm able to tell you this, the rest, I'm sure now there are a lot of information that you should be fine. So that's why I'm spending much time here. And someone will say, I must be new to receive a scholarship. Senior, let me not waste time here. Chama, you know if you pay the fees. Unless maybe you are a minister's son and you're watching us, then you can step up. But if you're watching me right now, the fees is crazy. It's crazy, right? So it doesn't have to be that way. Then the college or university you graduated from is not competitive enough. Here, I completed University of Education, Winneba. And when I was applying to a school like Western Michigan, where I had my first funding from, what happened was that when I typed in my school was called an unknown school, unrecognized school. Your school is not in the list. We don't know your school globally. Right? And not only Western Michigan, most of the schools, when I type in UW, they're like, what school is this? I will type in Kane University will show up. I will type in, let's say, Ashesh University to show up. I'll type in UCC to show up. Sometimes some of the Ghanaians will like, Kane University will not show up in some of the schools and stuff. I'm not trying to hype Kane University and co. But all that I'm saying is that don't discredit the school that you went to. You may say that, oh, I'm from Ghana. Ghana is not there. No, it's not about that. I've seen people who completed Presbyterian University, private university in Ghana, getting full funding in good schools. It's about what you want, what you can present. This information I'm sharing right now is gold. It's very, very important. The last one is, it is too early to start. If you are watching us right now, you are blessed. I'm telling you. I didn't get some of these things. Some of the things that we did, we went to search them ourselves. We were online, watching sessions here and there, because the environment I came from, it was not really a thing when it comes to the UEW environment, because some of our seniors had traveled, before we came, but they were all to themselves. But when we came, we're like, no, we won't let that happen. We will let you guys know that this information is there. That's what some of us, we are out there talking, blah, 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 blah. So, we just we are just surprised that this information is there and it's not being shared. So it is not too early to start. If you want to come to US in 2025, listen and listen very well. We have we have one academic year, calendar, but we have 3 main semesters. The first semester, which is the fall semester, that begins in September. This August August is our fall semester for 2024, and the first semester, that's the fall semester, will end in December. The first semester, which is the fall semester, starts in August, ends in December. The second semester is the spring semester that will begin in 2025 January and will end in May. That's the second semester. Then the last semester, that is the summer time, that is vacation, but they still do some courses. It's in May, so what? August. So if you want to come and study in US, the preferred semester that is recommendable is the fall semester, the first semester, the fall semester or the first semester, the same thing. So if you want to come in 2025 August, 2025 August, the time is now. As you are watching us, we are in July. August is coming right now. Most schools will be opening in August. For Canadian schools, they normally open in September. But for US, most schools are, some have been already open, but most schools will open in August. That is for 2025 intake. So we have what we call priority deadline. Priority deadline. I want to emphasize that. I'll be sharing that when I'm talking about the funding. But listen to me very well. Priority deadline is the deadline for what? Funding consideration. I repeat, priority deadline is the deadline for funding consideration. As Moses illustrated, when you go on the site and you check and they have funding at University of Florida, they have what we call admission deadline and funding deadline. The funding deadline is the priority deadline. And for US, most schools, you have to submit your application by January 15th. Let me say it in a Ghanaian way, not January. January 15th, you have to submit your application by then. But for PhD, most schools, by December 1st, you should be done. Some as early as November this year. If you want to come next year, as early as November this year, you have to finish your application. So all I'm saying is that application for next year will open this year, August. By December, you should be done with applications. But it varies. So always check the website to confirm that. So it is not too early to start. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, thank you. Now, he has already talked about the funding, but I want to just break it down for you to understand it very well. Then I will just do an illustration of how to search for funding. You know, he did a broad school search and added the funding components, which is the state-by-state approach. But I will show you a simplified approach, which you can augment with what he illustrated. So the types of scholarships in US, I've personally classified them as what? Internal and external scholarship. The internal scholarships are provided by the what? The university you are applying to. They are provided by the what? The university you are applying to. Let me do something right here. Sorry. Let me share my screen here so that I will not be turning left and right center. Yeah. Hold on. All right, it's fine. Okay, I hope you can see it, right? Yeah. So the internal scholarships are they are the scholarships that are provided by the university you are applying to. So these are provided by, let's say you're applying to my university of the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. They give you this funding. And when it comes to US and Canadian schools, they have what we call graduate assistantship. Now, this may be the first time you're hearing it, or if you have been in this journey for a while, you already know this. So you'll be like, but if it's your first time, don't worry. It means that it is a form of funding whereby the department offers you an assistantship as a graduate student, whereby you either assist a professor as a teaching assistant, or as a research assistant, or as an administrative assistant in the department. These are the 3 types of funding. So the teaching assistant, you can either serve in your department, normally in your home department. Let's say you are doing mathematics, you'll be a teaching assistant for Professor Moses, or a chemist, a teaching assistant for Professor Moses, in that order. And then you'll be grading, you'll be assisting students to clarify some stuff, sometimes to normally in the communication department, I'm sure Madam Esther will bear with me. They normally teach for them. You will come first year from Ghana and you'll be teaching in your first semester. So you'll be a teaching assistant, quote unquote, like an instructor on record. So in exchange for that, they'll be paying for your tuition fee most of the times fully, or what we call full tuition waiver, and a monthly stipend, which will be able to help you pay for your rent, living expenses, and what have you. Sometimes health insurance, and normally that's for PhD programs. But if you go to a good school at the master's level, you'll be able to get health insurance covered, and sometimes they even give you relocation allowance. I know a very close friend I helped to go to a school in Wyoming. They gave her a relocation allowance. So that is also there. Yeah. So
that's sweet.
Yeah. So these are dimensions in the whole process. Then we come to the graduate research assistantship. That one is where the funding day. That's where the money is. You'll be assisting a professor, like Moses said. He was assigned a specific professor who said, hey, recruit this student. I've done an interview with him. I want to work with him in my lab. So once the person comes, they'll be working on a project. Let's say I'm a National Science Foundation project or any other grant the professor has received. So assuming I'm a professor and you come and you're working with me, we'll be working on the project. You'll be like my author or something. It depends on the professor. You may probably work and not get any co-authorship, but on the average, you will get co-authorship. And then in exchange for that, some schools pay as huge as $32,000 per year, while they are paying for your tuition fees, giving you conference funding, health insurance, and what have you. So just come and study, do research, and let's feed you. That's basically that. The last one is where people normally miss it. I didn't even put it there. The graduate administrative assistant. This is where, if you are listening to me right now, listen very well. This is where the milk is. Listen very well. This is where the milk is. 89 participants, listen very well. Now, here, all that I've shared earlier is all about either a teaching or research. Now, the administrative assistant, you're going to perform administrative roles. Hence, it is not really about your GPA. It is about your experience. So these roles is either you are an office assistant in, let's say, an economics department or the admissions office. Do you have experience working with admissions or like working with students? So you'll be like an administrative assistant in the graduate, school office, at school, the entire university admissions office, international students office, housing and dining, recreational center. Some will even go as far as how do you call it? Which one should I even add? I think I've exhausted all the points, but basically you will work as an administrative assistant, so they don't really normally care about your GPA when it comes to this role. So you will get admission in your department, no funding, don't cry. Go on your school's website, check what we call, normally the schools have what we call handshake. Go to handshake or reach out to your department coordinator. Hey, Professor Moses, I've gotten admission, however, I didn't get funding. I wanted to reach out if you have access to any other external administrative openings. Some of us will be kind enough to respond. Hey, in this process, don't bring the Ghanaian entitlement syndrome. Don't bring the Ghanaian entitlement syndrome. Anything that you get, see it as a privilege. You've not paid anybody to do anything for you. So when you reach out and you respond, hooray. If you don't respond, a gentle reminder, no feedback, move on to the next. So you reach out and you don't get any feedback, you can go to the school's HR, you find them on the financial aid side, reach out to them. Is there any openings? But normally these openings are posted on the school's handshake website. Aside that too, they have some schools have specific GA sites, how do you call it? Site. Like if you go to, I don't know how to put it. I think I've done a video. Go on my channel, okay? How to search for schools. A school like Landa University. If you go there, Landa University in South Carolina, very close to me, like 3 hours away. They have a place whereby they post all their openings, administrative assistant positions. So they'll let you know, okay, admissions office, we need 3 people here. And I think University of Houston in Texas as well, they also have it. They'll let you know, we have 3 openings in housing and dining. We have 2 openings for administrative positions in rec center, in that order. So for these roles, if your GPA is very low, let this place concern you. And if you are listening to me especially those who did education in Ghana. If you read, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Education of any kind, or you did any program and you are interested, one of the programs that I would emphasize right now, listen very well. If you really want funding and you did education, one program that they give funding when it comes to administrative assistance roles is what we call Masters in Student Affairs. Masters in Student Affairs. I repeat, Masters in Student Affairs. It may seem a very simple program, but this program, they normally need, once they admit you, your funding is guaranteed. On the average, your funding is guaranteed because you'll be working as a staff support or as a resource person, whereby they'll be using you here and there. Then the next one is fellowships. Fellowships. But before I even proceed, I just mentioned, something just came to mind. If you are listening to me and you did a program like Fine Arts, let's say Bachelor of Fine Arts in KNUST or Bachelor of Arts in Ghana Communication, you know how Ghana will relegate some programs and also overemphasize some programs. In America, it's a playing ground. All programs are respected. And I always say that there are programs, I call them uncommon programs that have good funding. Okay? Uncommon programs that have good funding. My boss will agree with me. He read history in Ghana. History students had a what? I think the good stipend or the huge stipend. My friend is in Princeton right now, reading PhD in history, Princeton University. As a student, he doesn't have to work. He doesn't even have to work in return for the money. The money is huge. You get it? Some programs you may think that in Ghana, this program they don't accord the program that respect. But in US, if you read communication, Madam Esther will attest to you. If you read English, she will testify. If you read chemistry there, you guys are there. The funding there is there for you. But if you read those courses I mentioned, like fine arts and those courses, I just want to emphasize that you have high chance. Now, the last, but the next one is fellowships. Fellowships, that one is simple. It's just like the assistantship, but this time around, you won't work in exchange for the money. They just give you the money, the stipend, pay for your tuition, just come and study. The last one is the specific university scholarship, whereby they give you some money, normally in the MBA programs in Canadian schools. We call them entrance scholarships. They just dump the money to you. Hey, just come and study. And US is very scarce because here is a capitalist economy. They won't just give you free money. But for Canada, you can get some of those staffs. And in Europe, you can get them. But for US, Charlie, there is no free lunch. And I have some specific university scholarships. I'll share the slide with, Dr. Godwin. You can take them up. These are some scholarships in UK. I've messed them up here. But I just want to let you know we have specific university scholarship. Let me wrap it up quick. Now, what are external scholarships? External scholarships are scholarships that are offered by what? External entities. They are offered not by the respective university. They are offered by, let's say, the U.S. Embassy. They have their own funding. They offer to, the exchange program that she had. Madam Esther had. I don't know if she was funded, but normally they give fund like Fulbright, Chevening in UK, that in Germany, CAD in Germany, Australia Award Scholarship, and what have you. But for US, let your focus be on the internal scholarships. Those ones are less competitive. If you want to go for the external scholarship like Erasmus Mundus, just understand that you're going to compete for, let's say, an award of 5 slots, about 700 applicants all over the world. 700 applicants for about 5 slots. Understand? And that's one trick I used to do. When I was applying, I normally ask, or I will check. Some schools, they'll let you, they will post it. Some schools don't post it. They'll let you know. Last year, we received about 20 applications. And these were the fundings that we offered. What was the average GP? What was the average GP for funding? What were the things we consider? Some schools provide all this information. So all I'm saying is that the competition is tough for external scholarship, but for the internal scholarships, it is less competitive. So reach out to the coordinators. If you don't find on the website or they are frequently asked questions, ask Dr. Jima, please, I'm applying to your Master of Arts in History. I want to find out last year how many applications did you receive? And if you care to share, what was the factors that made you guys really give funding, like the average GP, or what would you advise me? Some of this information, you don't find them on the frequently asked questions. Sometimes it's there. Don't go and just ask because I just told you right now. I know schools like Duke University, they provide all this information. So read before you ask all these questions. If you go and ask a question that's already been answered on the website, a professor will just copy the link on the site and then tell you to go and what? Go and read. I've had professors who were very corny, and they would just give some reply that was very what? Unpleasant. So I don't know if my time is up, Dr. Godwin. I want to just illustrate the searching for funding technique.
Okay.
It's up.
Yeah, I've given you 5 minutes to do.
Okay. Yeah. Let me share the approach. So Senior Moses showed you guys how to do the state-by-state approach when it comes to searching for schools and funding. Now, I call it simplified approach. The simplified approach is that let me use what program? Economics, right? Let me use economics, which is my program, or communication, or any other program. Okay. So if I want to do masters in communication, what I will do is that when I come to Google, I'll just type graduate what? Assistant for masters in what? Communication. Right? As simple as that. Graduate assistantship for masters in what? Communication. So here you can put your program there. Someone will be listening to us and the person will be like, I don't even know what program to apply for. Understand that you don't understand that you don't have to necessarily, if you did let's say history. Dr. Godwin did history in Ghana. He came here to do history. Now he did what? Curriculum and instruction. Senior Ben too will tell you the same trajectory. I did economics for my bachelor's, economics education, and pure economics for my master's, and I'm doing what? Economic policy. So you don't have to necessarily limit yourself to what you did. It's all about what you are interested in, and senior, the gospel truth is where the funding too is. So that is that. So when you do the search like this, it comes and you see this thing here, sponsored. Don't click on the sponsored links, okay? These are all ads. These are all ads. We are concerned about the unsponsored ones. So I can check a school like University of South Alabama. I'll just go there. And this search makes the search easier. This search or this approach makes the search easier. So once I click on South Alabama, straight, it sends me to their funding. Right? So I'll be certain that the funding is already what? Already there. Now, once I'm done with it, when I come to the funding, what do they say? Graduate assistantship may be awarded to qualified communication graduate students by a competitive application process. Assistants currently receive 8,000 academic what? Year stipend, 4,000 per semester, and a tuition waiver up to 10 semester credit hours each term for the what? Appointment. So meaning this is not like a full what? Assistantship, it's a partial assistantship. So be very careful because you're looking for 18 credits. No, it's up to 10 semester credits. So this is good. Yeah. So you're looking for up to like a maximum of 9 credits waiver a semester. Like they can waive because you're normally as a graduate student, you'll be doing 3 courses maximum a semester, unless you want to graduate early. That is fine. So they'll let you know how to apply. The responsibilities is there. As international students, we work a maximum of what? 20 hours a week. You can't do beyond that. If you do beyond that, you go home. Donald Trump will send you home. So that is that. Once you are done with the assistantship, the next thing is you check the department, and there are frequently asked questions. You can check it out. You go to the specific department or the program and check the admission requirements. The admission requirements. Look, for applicants with less than 2.5 GPA, following graduate exams are required. GRE of 297 or more. Those with 275, you are fine. And now let me give you a trick. Good, I forgot about this one. Senior Moses, I forgot. If you had, let's say 2.5 or second class lower, after this session, go and take your final 2 years, your third and fourth year, calculate the last 60 credits. That GPA weighs more than your cumulative GPA. So in your SOP, you can communicate that, oh, in my first and second year, things were not that smooth. Or, things were not that okay. So in my, final 60 credits, I had this GPA, which was probably 3.4 or 3.5. But cumulatively, I didn't do well. But so then, the other way around, then that one is your own cup of tea. So because the third and fourth year courses is very difficult. That's what they normally think. So there's a simplified approach. Check the requirement, the document they need. Do you want to do thesis? Do you want to do non-thesis? A lot of funding for assistantship. Check, see, a lot. Scan corner busano. Look, I go to the next one. Scan for communication. I can do for chemistry. For my boss here, chemistry, they are funding a booth. If your brother did chemistry, none of the person stay in Ghana. Okay. If you know anybody who has done chemistry, go and tell the person that next year they have to travel to US. So that is that. Chemistry to the same approach. Check it. Same approach as he was illustrating. Simplified approach. Okay. Simplified approach. If I should do Master of Arts in
education.
Education, right? Education, masters in education. Same approach. Same approach. Let me check one school. Same approach, like Ball State University. I think they require, and let me add this. I love this. Let me add this. Let me add to what Nemosi said when it comes to checking the requirement. Check if they don't require transcript evaluation. It is very expensive. So you don't want to commit yourself. If you want to do the evaluation, it is good. I had 371. When I did the evaluation, it pushed me to 386. So the evaluation always helps. But if you don't have the money, it's around 350. I think some is cheap now. They have some cheaper options. I'm sure my seniors will recommend the cheaper options for you, but it's expensive. So if you don't want to do that, it's fine. Now, educational leadership. These are the funding available here. For Ball State University, they have it. You'll be working 20 hours. I'm trying to look for the money. I'm concerned about the money. Yeah, but so we said that when graduate assistantship become available, they are posted on the Cardinal Career link. So if you go on there, I think you don't have any openings right now, but definitely you will get some funding. Let me try and show you some education funding before I go. Else you'll be like, yes, for all kinds of who funding they are available for education. No, there are a lot of them. A lot of them. This is Boy State University, early childhood and special education. Early childhood and special education. These are the graduate assistantship openings. So yeah, the openings are available. I mean, available. I'm not going to for I say available is here. So let me wrap up. When you go to Penn State College of Education, they have it. They have it here. Full tuition waiver. A number of assistantships available each year on a competitive basis for outstanding graduate students. Normally, students are on half-time assistantship, which specify 20 hours of blah, 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 a quarter time, 10 hours, 12 credits per semester, and what have you. So it's a lot. Just go through them. You will find yours, okay? Again, don't click on the sponsored link. Go to the next one and what have you. So this is a simplified what? Approach. Approach. Let me stop sharing. This is a simplified approach. I've really poured out of my heart. I love how the thing went. I think I've shared everything that's supposed to when it comes to this thing. I want you see how I'm talking? I want to kind of like give you the hope. I want to let you know this is possible. There's a guy who was applying that they said my school is unknown on the website. I went ahead. Back in Ghana, I'm from Sunyane, a very remote, part of, Ghana, very, humble beginning, but we all made it. My boss is now, his dream has come through. He was sharing his testimony. Sina Moses, shared a story of how he thought he would not be able to make it based on his GP. He is now here. Madam Esther, out of all the, marital stuff, but she's here. So the dream is possible. And as I always say on my YouTube channel, if you've ever watched me, I say the journey of what? Hope. Because it may seem dusty, it may seem bleak, but I want you to look at the positivity. I want you to look at the end result. If you come and see me by then, I was just using an iPhone 6 Plus or so, doing the search. I was going through the states, state by state, before I got a laptop. But we were committed. We were enthused. We knew where we were going. Okay. You may say that this thing is expensive. I don't have money to pay for service fee. You might have heard of service fee, passport, plane ticket. Forget about that. Focus on the schools right now. Focus on the schools. How you can get your funding. Once the funding comes and everything settles, the rest, they will gather. Thank you.
Thanks so much, our dear brother Kingsford. So please note down your questions, any questions that you have related to searching for funding or scholarship. Now we want to move on to the third presentation by our dear sister Esther.
Godwin, before Esther comes, can I, Onyina, explain something short that I posted in the page that I would like you to explain the Ghanaian entitlement syndrome. Just explain to them what it means.
Yeah. So the Ghanaian entitlement syndrome it basically means that we naturally will feel like when we are applying to these programs and reaching out to the coordinators, because they are coordinators or professors, we expect that no matter what, they have to reply. Like they have to reply to our emails. But that is not how it works. Just see it as a privilege, okay? That when they respond to you, be grateful. Like if they don't respond to you, you move on to the next thing. So I don't know if I'm doing justice to the interpretation, but all that we are saying is that when you begin this process, don't think that you are entitled to get feedback from professors. Rather, it's a privilege when they respond to you. I don't know if I did justice, but that's all I want to say. Yeah.
Sure. I get you.
All right. I think I'll be doing this presentation with my co-presenter. So thank you all so much for the vital information that you have already shared. So aside the searching for schools and then funding, which is one hectic thing that most of the time hinder a lot of applications, another thing also has to do with the documents that these schools require. For GRE, GMAT, and SAT, and all of those ones, that's not what I'm going to talk about here, because myself, I don't even want to do those ones. But then for statements of purpose or purpose statements, for CV, writing samples, and then the degrees, our transcript, our certificate, and all of those things that already Mr. Mayonu already talked about. I think those ones are already there for you, because if you did your WASI and you went to undergraduate program, you definitely have your transcript and certificate already. But then for the CV and then statement of purpose, you need to work at these ones. And that is one thing that I know that most time confound a lot of people when they are applying for admissions. So one, let us look at the difference between a CV and a resume. They are almost like similar, but one thing is that a CV, academic CV for that purpose, is used for either academic, research, and educational positions only. And then when it comes to the length, it is typically longer than a resume. You know, mostly people will say that make sure that your CV is 1 to 2 page long. That is not a CV they are talking about. They are talking about a resume, not a CV. But for a CV, it can be longer than 2 pages. It depends on your achievement, the things you've done, your academic achievements, your research experience, your teaching experience. And so all of those ones count when you are submitting an academic CV for an academic admission. And then also it has a rigid format. I think I'll post or I will share some files, an example or some examples in the chat so that you can have access to them. And then mostly the content, you focus on your education and then your teaching experience, research experience that you have. If you're fortunate to have publications too, you would have to highlight those ones. The grants and awards that you've had. Sometimes we think that, it was just like just a recognition, there was no money attached, but all of those ones really do count. It means that your works are recognized. And so when you're applying to schools and programs, they actually look out for some of these things. So highlight them. Your professional activities. So maybe, for instance, I'm in communication, so I can talk more on communication than other programs. So for instance, I am part of maybe Ghana Communication Students Association, and I attend their conferences and even do presentations over there. Those ones are very vital when it comes to academic CV. So you have to put all of those ones there. And then also your volunteer services, maybe some committees that you have been a part, maybe when you were the teaching assistant or something in your undergraduate school, you did some things that are like vital. You have to highlight all of these ones in your academic CV. So then you know that it is impossible for that thing to go beyond 1 to 2 page. But when we come to resumes, resumes are mostly for job positions or job applications. And then, you know, you must make sure that you tailor them. So they are mostly 1 to 2 pages long. And then they are flexible when it comes to the formatting. So even though maybe I have a lot of experiences, work experiences, but I will only focus on the job that I am seeking to tailor my resume. So those ones, you can tailor them. And then the content, yes, you do your education, but it will be very brief. And then you will highlight your work experience the more, and then skills like soft skills that you have, computer skills and customer relations skills and stuff. Those ones are not very vital when it comes to academic CVs. And then here you would have to talk about maybe your career summary, and then some certifications and trainings that you have that are vital to the job that you're applying for. But then one thing I want to highlight over here is that most schools, they might even say your resume or CV, but I think it is good to do an academic CV and then send to them instead of a resume, because you might be coming to do a teaching assistantship position or a graduate assistantship position, research assistantship position, but then you may have some good customer relations stuff, but those are not so important to them when it comes to whatever position you're coming to do. But highlight your teaching experience, your research experience, your conference presentations. And if you are not doing it now, please, if you still have the chance, try to do them, because they really, really put you on the edge. As I'm going on, if you have anything, you can please just put it in the chat. And if my superiors have another thing to add, they are more than welcome to pause me and then continue. Then another thing that is very important in the application process is the statement of purpose, or what others may refer to as purpose statement. I had a conversation with my head of department and some of the recruitment committee members, and then they were like, oh, for my communication background, since most of the positions available are teaching, they look out for people who have a background in communication already. And then another thing is the GPA. And apart from the GPA, the next important thing is the statement of purpose. Most people who come to a master's degree program are people who have not worked in the professional setting for so many years. So they may not have those experience for them to highlight. But then how you express yourself in the statement of purpose really tell them a big story about who you are and your capabilities. So that 1 to 2 page or 2 to 3 page maximum for PhDs would indeed make a lot of difference in your application process. So a statement of purpose is a written document that normally outlines your academic and professional goals, and then your motivations or the reasons why you want to pursue or you are applying to that particular program. And as I already mentioned, it is your first point of contact with the admission select committee. And so they don't know you. They don't know who Esther is. They don't know who Godwin is. They don't know who Moses is. And a lot of people have applied to this position, and probably they need maybe just 10 people. And then we have about 300 applications. How do they single these people out? How do they know that, okay, these people are better than the others, even though they all have the same GPAs and they are coming from good schools? Did somebody say something?
You can please continue.
All right. So it is your first point of contact. So you need to market yourself very well. I'm not saying go and lie, but at least you can exaggerate some of the things that they cannot verify, you know, and then express yourself in ways that are very clear and then very concise as well. And then the SOPs must be tailored to fit specific programs and schools. Some people think that once they have one SOP and they are applying to communication programs or they are applying to chemistry programs, it should be the same for every school or every program. No, that is not true. For in my department, it is recently that we had strategic communication as part of it. So assuming you were applying to my school and then you went like, oh, I am very much interested in strategic communication and I want to become a professor in Stratcom and all of those ones, you may have 4.0. You may have 4.0, so sorry. You may have a 4.0 and you may have like the best of CVs, but then because of your SOP, you will not be selected because they don't have the resources, they don't have the faculty members to aid you. And so there is no way they are going to accept you onto the program. The same goes for, let's assume that you applied to, let's say, chemistry, and then you are talking about maybe chemical, and then they are doing physical or something like, I don't know, those of them in the field will know. So you need to make sure that you always go onto the school's website, the graduate program that you are looking for, look at their specifics. What are the things they have? Where are their research interests lying? What are the capabilities of their faculty members before you draft your SOP? Yes, sometimes you can use one SOP for maybe 5 schools, but you will need to tweak them. And that is very, very vital. And then also make sure that you highlight the very important things that you have done that are in line with that particular program or school that you are applying to in your SOP, because it is one of the very vital things that they use in deciding your admission outcomes. And then the importance of the SOP, we can say that it gives an introduction to the applicant because they don't know you. You may have given them a code email or something, but then they still don't know who you are. You might even be fortunate enough to get a Ghanaian as part of the faculty members, but the person still doesn't know you. And here this time around, they are not here to go like, oh, okay, I'm Ghanaian and he's Ghanaian. No, the decision is not made by one person and it is not even based on those biases. So it is a good time to introduce who you are to the admission select committee. And then this is also the time you have to give them your goals and motivations. Why do you think that you are a good fit for their program? Why do you think that, you can achieve something with their program? This is the time you need to tell them. And then the relevance and fit. How relevant is their program to you? They consider all of those ones. Unlike some of the schools that we are coming from, whereby they are just thinking about the numbers and then how to get maybe money. These people, yes, the money might be vital to them. And even in our case, how many of us pay money to them? We are even looking for funding from them. So they want to see how beneficial their program will be for you after you are done with them, so that at least it can also kind of put them on a different higher pedestal. And then the contribution impact, if it is possible. Sometimes, especially for PhD admissions, you would want to let them know how you can also contribute to their program, not just taking out, but can you do more research, maybe in cancer, maybe in some health or social issues, those kind of things you can highlight in your SOP as well. And then sometimes they are also looking at how good you are able to communicate your thoughts. So they want to see clarity and then your communication skills in this SOP. Just that 1 to 2 page, 1 to 2 page or maximum 3 page for some programs. They want to see all of these things. And so it is about you being very, very like strategic and then being concise whilst you are drafting your SOP. And another thing that sometimes a lot of schools will ask for is a writing sample. So what is a writing sample? Somebody will be like, okay, I don't know what a writing sample is, but it's just a document or an excerpt demonstrating your writing abilities or probably sometimes your research skills. So is it just any document you're supposed to take? No, it is things that pertain to academia, things that you have done. So sometimes it can even be your long essay that you wrote. Sometimes it can be maybe your project that you did. Sometimes it can even be like an assignment that you did, but then these things must be in line with the program that you are applying to. So it is the key purpose of the writing samples we have. Mostly it is to showcase your writing ability. You know, over here they will tell you we go with APA 7th edition, you go with this and we go with all of those kind of writing that they want. They don't want somebody who will just come, who will have the grades, but will not be able to express themselves when it comes to writing or research. So they want to see all of these things. And the writing sample must also exhibit your subject knowledge. So you say you are from communication and you are bringing a writing sample that has nothing to do with communication. How sure are we that indeed you can do this master's or PhD program with us? And then it also assesses critical thinking. Unlike Ghana, whereby undergraduate programs, you just go there, somebody will just come and give a 1 hour, 2 hour lecture. And at the end of the day, they will come and quiz and those things. Over here, it is different. Here, it is a seminar. So you are in a class whereby you contribute. The professor might come and just introduce the course the first week. The rest of the week, you are teaching, you are discussing, you are leading like facilitations and all of those things. And you know, they can only tell from your writing samples and then your SOPs. So this is the time they judge, oh, okay, based on this writing sample that this person submitted, okay, this person is a critical thinker. And then you're matched with their requirements. So sometimes see that the writing sample that you are going to give to them is something that matches what they are doing or what you are applying for. And then I wrote down some tips and then some types of writing samples that you can give. So some types of writing samples can be academic papers. It can also be professional documents. It can be creative writing or technical writing. So sometimes some programs in Ghana, we don't do thesis, we do projects. Don't think that, oh, because I didn't do a thesis, or maybe because I don't have a research publication, I do not have any writing sample. Anything that you did that is in line with the program that you are applying for, you can submit that. And then the tips, I wrote that it should be relevant. So just don't submit anything. Submit things that are in line with the program or the degree that you are applying to. And then it should be a material that is of quality. Please don't just write those things that when you enter level 100, you didn't have any idea what you were doing. Don't submit those ones. Please make sure that you refine whatever it is you are sending to them. And then also the length. For now, for my department, for instance, they only ask for 5 pages long. So check their requirements, but it should not exceed 20 pages if you are applying for a master's program. But if they have a requirement, make sure that whatever it is that you are submitting to them is just that length. And then also check the context. So if it is public relations you are applying to, make sure that whatever it is you are sending to them is in line with that. And I think that is all that I wrote for this section, but I'm going to attach some examples of SOP and then CVs to the chat so that we all can have access to them. Thank you.
Thanks so much, our dear sister Esther. Thanks so much. So I want to invite our brother Daniel Du to also give us a quick add up before our brother will continue.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to share your screen?
Okay.
Yeah. Moses, can you please make him a co-host?
Please, can you see my screen?
Not yet. Oh.
Can you see something now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. So I want to add a little to what Kingsford shared.
Yeah, if you can please introduce yourself so that we
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then since you are also in the sciences, you can also add up a couple of information. Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Daniel Edubuachi, the first person to get a bachelor's degree in my family, and a master's degree and a PhD. I come from Patasi, near Jakobu, in Amansia Central District of Ashanti region. And with regards to the institution I had my degrees. I had my first degree from University of Cape Coast, and then I moved to K University for my master's, and then I came to University of Florida for my PhD. That's what I want to share something a little bit of. Please let me stop sharing. That's what I want to add a little something small to what Kingsford shared, because I came for the PhD with my best friend, and we didn't have everything perfect, but God some way somehow helped us to get to the best schools possible we could get. So that's what I want to share with you. Okay. So I wrote the GRE exams with my best friend, and we both did not perform well. Oh, my screen. I'm not seeing my screen. Please, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
It's only one, but I have a lot of things on it. Okay. Anyway, I'll talk about it and see. Okay. So the minimum score for GRE for our institutions were not met by myself and my friend, but we both had masters. And so before we start the whole process, or we start the application process, what we did was, what do we have? What do we have to offer? Or what do we have to continue at the PhD level? So having asked those questions, my friend did masters in history, and I did masters in horticulture at K University. He did research on urban history, urban architectural history, and I did a research on understanding why citrus fruit drop from the tree. So when it was time for us to apply for PhD, we had our bachelor's degree. I did agric at UCC, and as you are in UCC, you know the lifestyle of agric students. And I went to K University. So we had our GPAs, we had our master's research, and then we had our GRE results too. But we both continued our PhD, or we both continued our master's research at our PhD level. That's what I want to say. Because when I was writing my first email to the professor I worked with, I said, hey, I'm Daniel so and so. I completed this school and I did this research and I found this. I want to do this in your lab. When my professor saw that, he saw that this guy is a brilliant guy, let me work with him. So he did not ask me about money. But he first accepted me that, hey, I would like to work with you on your interest. Then as we went on with the process, he asked me, do you have fun? I said, no. Can you help me with it? He said, yes. Then, and so I had two institutions, that's Mississippi State University and the University of Florida. And so, I did not just join the pool of people who sent emails to professors that, hey, I want funding to do the, but I distinguished myself to tell them that, okay, I have this GPA, but my interest is in this research, which can help. And without bragging, when I came to do the work for my PhD, there was low yield and I could increase yield on citrus trees by 30%. When you just type my name and add fruit drop on it, citrus fruit drop on it, a lot of things will come on Google. I'm just saying that to tell you that when you are looking for funding, it's good that yes, you look for those with assistantship, but please, if you have any nice experience, passion, research that could fetch you opportunity, add it up. And the second thing I want to talk about is that Kingsford mentioned that you type maybe mass communication assistantship, but for me, I've come to realize that the best schools have the funding. So my friend went to Yale, and I can tell you he had over 5 admissions from best school, best history programs in the United States. And he chose Yale out of it. For me, I just had applied only to Mississippi State and the University of Florida. University of Florida, as at the time I was being admitted into the program, we were the 10th best public school. Now we are ranked as an Ivy League school. And they had funding for me for the whole period. So you can search by saying, that's what is on my PowerPoint, the best PhD in horticultural science program in the US. And the list will come. So if you are going to do maybe communication or telecommunication or civil engineering or whatever, you can say the best master's or PhD engineering programs in the US. And when you get the best school list, I can tell you that when you get a professor who will work with you, he may have funding. And then lastly, those of us in the sciences, especially the agricultural side, for me, I wasn't on main campus. I was on off campus. It's like the university was in Kumasi and the research station was in somewhere like maybe Tamale. So in a day, if I want to go to main campus, I have to drive for about 4 hours. But the off campus in Tamale, it's well furnished. Everything is nice there. And the nice part of it is that as at the time I came, we were paying rent for $50 a month. And I mean, they were really treating us very well. And the internet, everything was on point. So if you are within the agricultural sector and you want to have master's program, maybe you will like to look into their the best schools have off-campus research stations. For example, as I attended University of Florida, they have about 12 off-campus research stations. And then when you go to the state of Georgia too, they have the University of Georgia, they have off-campus research stations. So when you are searching within the sciences or within the agriculture sector, maybe you would like to check the off-campus research stations as well, because they may be very much useful to you as they have been to me. And as someone who did agriculture, when you study in the village, when you are done with school and you get a job in the village and the money is good, you will not be hesitant to go because the condition is friendly. Thank you, Godwin, for giving me the chance.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
I can't hear you. Please, I can't hear you. Or my network is not.
No, please. Seems Dr. Godwin's network
No,
seems
yeah.
to be messing up.
Yeah, I think Godwin's connection has a problem.
Okay, so if anyone has a question for me, I can answer, but if not, thank you for listening.
Questions after the last session. Can you hear me?
You are now on.
Can you hear me? I can take over. Maybe I need to reposition myself.
Okay. So I think we
Amen.
can now start taking questions. So, or is that not what you meant?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh,
We can hear you, but there is feedback.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have the next presentation by our brother Ebenezer Boache. So afterwards, then we open up the floor for all sort of questions.
Okay, thank you. Trying to share my screen. Can you all see my screen, please?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically I was tasked with finding a supervisor. So, I mean, our colleagues have already dealt with a whole lot of issues, so mine will not be that much of a talk. I'll quickly talk about the importance of finding a supervisor. Basically, in most schools, finding a supervisor for your program is not mandatory for admission, but it is very crucial for you yourself. So while some programs may demand finding a supervisor before applying, some programs do not, or some schools do not emphasize that. And so you need to read the program's website or the school's website to know whether it is mandatory or not. However, whether mandatory or not, you reaching out or finding a supervisor for your lab work or your research work is also a great deal of importance. Why? It helps your impact on your research progress because it helps you to shape where you really want to focus in your research agenda or the next life. And it also influences your academic success. Myself and Godwin, when we talk about PhD and academic work, he keeps emphasizing that, hey, your scholarly job has a great deal of work to do with also the good supervisor you have. Because whether master's or PhD, you will definitely get an advisor or a supervisor. It therefore helps you to know, having established that rapport with that person enhances your chances of academic success, as well as even funding. Because those you have already reached out helps you, whether you are in the sciences where you are reaching out to them to be in their laboratory or be part of their research process or the ongoing research work, helps you to get funding. Most of the time, those supervisors that you reach out to mostly have funding, especially in the sciences, have funding in their ongoing research, that when you join them, you can be fully funded for your studies. And so as you reach out to them, it enhances your future career opportunities, because definitely whilst you are doing your research work, going about your daily work with the supervisor, you will get connections, networking. And so these are the opportunities that they open, the doors that they open for you when you go for conferences and seminars, all other things that help you to really get you going. These are the essential things that you need to know about having or reaching out to a supervisor. So what are the things to do when searching for or finding the right supervisor for your work? You need to really research and prepare. What do I mean by researching and prepare? You need to read about on the program website or the university website to find those supervisors, what we call faculty members or professors that are under that program, that are running the program, that teach courses or research fellows in their department or on that program that you are trying to enter, seeking admission into, sorry. Researching in their areas of interest helps you to articulate which aspect of their work interests you best, because you go and find out that they have a lot of research interest. And so when you go there, you really get to know, okay, this aspect of their research is the one that really aligns with my interest. Sometimes there are two parts. You may not necessarily have the best of experience. You may not have been through the line that you have maybe worked so much that you have gotten experience that you will share with them. But then most of the time, just being able to know that this is an area that I want to enter is a great deal of importance. So search to know which areas or which aspects of their interest that best align with yours. You will find out that there are some list of topics under their research interest. Let me quickly go into details by clicking to the University of Maryland College Park's website. But before then, let me calm down. Let me jump that before I come back to go into the website. Also, you need to be able to communicate professionally, know how to craft your message to those supervisors. Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes, please. You can
Right.
hear.
Okay. Thank you. So be ready to write a good email, what most people call cold email. Be ready for that, because searching for them, definitely you reach out to them, and therefore you have to be ready for that. And in your communication, you have to be professional and also tailor your approach, to various supervisors. The supervisor that you got in University A with some similar interest, don't use the same email to the supervisor in University B, because interests differ from one person to the other, even sometimes within the same department or within the same program, where various people suggest it is not recommended that much that you reach out to a lot of supervisors within the same program, because they communicate with each other. And so when they see that you have reached out to this person, you yourself, you don't know who really you want to deal with. And so target one person, ideally, target one supervisor and see how your interests align with theirs so that you can draft a good email to them. Now, let's quickly go to the University of Maryland College Park website to see an example of how you search for supervisors that have research interests that align with yours. I'll click the second one. Now, coming here, you can see that I am here on their website, and I am interested in education programs. So you can see schools and colleges. Come here, then academics, go to schools and colleges. My area, my field is education, so I like stuff about education. So I'm going there.
Please, we are not seeing the website that you are on.
Oh, really?
Just seeing your presentation.
So you have to share your full screen so that it will help you when you're moving from one up to the other.
I thought I was sharing the whole screen. Let me see.
Maybe you can stop sharing and share again, and then share the whole screen.
Okay. It's still not sharing?
Yeah, it's sharing.
Yeah,
University of Education.
You can see now? Okay, right. So as you come here, you will see that there are various programs. Go to, I am scrolling down, our department. Now, this is the area you can see higher education, student affairs, and international education. This is the area where I have my program of interest. Now, mind you, I didn't just click it like that. I have done my research prior to coming here. So I know the program I am going for. That's why I'm taking you through that process. This means that you might have also done your research to know the area that you are going into so that you'll be able to search the supervisors in the program. So I click on the program, then I am here. Higher Education, Student Affairs, and International Education Policy. Now scroll down, you will see the program, the various levels. I am interested in more information on higher education PhD. So I click on it, I come down to the PhD. Scrolling down, you can see associated faculty here. I think you can see associated faculty. This is where I am going to say, because it differs from program to program and school to school. Sometimes some of the programs, you will not find the associated faculty members there under the program, but you will find them in the department faculty directory, which has the database of all faculty members within the department. So you need to really search, go through it. It's sometimes a tedious work, and you really need that commitment. So I click on it. You can see that a list of faculty members. So if you are reaching out to a program coordinator, you can see here, concentration coordinator. This is the person, when you are asking about the program, any question about the program, you will reach out to Marvin Titus. And so I am looking for a supervisor. I will go to, let's say, I'm going to Alberto. I go to Alberto. This is Alberto. Then look here, the topmost research interest, the impact of college on students. That's one area of interest. College choice is another area of interest. Classroom experiences is also another area of interest. Minorities in higher education is an area of interest. College outcomes, alumni. These are areas of interest. That's the first thing that you have established. So among these, you ask yourself, which of them really talk to me? Which area do I really want to go deeper into as a scholar, or that I want to make it my studies, the emphasis of my studies? Because even when you are writing your statement of purpose that our sister Esther talked about, you really talk about some of these things. So it is important to really know about such areas. Now, you will come and read about their bio. So you read about their bios. Mostly me, when I see that their research interests are separated from their bios, I don't bother myself so much reading a lot about their bios because it's a whole lot. Sometimes you may not see their research interests separated like this. You need to read the whole bio to see the areas, because some of them, their interests are embedded in their bios. And you also go to their fellowships. There's no fellowship, honors and awards. These are things. But one thing of importance is publications. Now I have come to publication. When we are talking about their areas of interest, come to their what? What is this? I'm not seeing my laptop. Okay, thank God. Come to their publications to see that the work that they are doing. You can see that the last time he published, oh, easy. Godwin.
Yeah, maybe you have to stop sharing and then share again.
Okay, I think it's on now. Now you can see their publications. The last time this man published was in 2021, and you can see a current one coming. It says forthcoming. So the work is in progress. That is forthcoming. Reading through their publications, which of them also align with the things that that interest you, so that when you are couching your email to them, you can talk about some work that they have done. Sometimes some of them have links that lead to their publication. The one that interests you, click on the link, then you go and read about in their abstracts to see what the work is about, so that you can point one or few things. It tells them your seriousness, that you have gone to the extent, because they themselves know that it doesn't just come by chance that someone gets to know about your work. The person might have really researched or worked on it to see the work. When you talk about some of these things, it really attracts their interest to respond to you, to have a great interest in you. You can see a lot. Yes, one of them is here. As I mentioned, that you can see that he has this link here that lead to one of the work here, examining parental and school involvement in readiness for college through SEM. So you can see the link here. You click on it, it leads you to the work itself. You read the abstract if it's something that interests you. Now, another thing that I want to go is, you can see here, grant and project. Grant and project. These are, I think someone was mentioning about big schools with funding. University of Maryland College Park is one big school that has a lot of funding. Education, almost all their programs, they have a lot of funding, because it's a research-intensive institution. So those of you who are interested in almost every field, go there. If they have it, do all the research that we've talked to you about, check to see if they have funding or their ongoing project. You can reach out to them to see if it will be helpful. Now look here, Center for the Integration of Research in Teaching and Learning, project funded by the National Science Foundation to improve graduate education in sciences, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So you can see that this work, look here, National Science Foundation, they've got a lot of funding. When they fund your project, I bet, like, whenever you see that a professor has a project funded by National Science Foundation, you can see that he has a great deal of funding. And so if it interests you, reach out to them, whether they are the PI, principal investigator, or they are a co-PI, still reach out to them if it is an area that interests you. Even sometimes, some of them, they quote the funding, the money, the amount there. So you reach out to them, telling them about your interest in the area, your interest in their research, then you talk about as their ongoing project that really align with you and you really want to work with them. So that is how you find research supervisors or academic supervisors that we want to work with. Sharon Fries, you can go there, come here. She also has this interest, minority students, minority high. So there are a lot of them. You go to their publications, you see she just published just last year, Black Women Navigation, the Doctoral Journey. So another key point in searching for supervisors is finding supervisors that are not, let me say, I think Onyina and Godwin, all of you may have a different idea. I think Godwin may share some idea with me, but supervisors or professors that are associate and assistant professors. Most of the time, the full-time professors, they have worked and researched a lot. They really don't have much time again to really do much research. So when you really reach out to them, they may take you, but the needed attention that you need, you may. I am saying, that's why I'm careful in choosing my words. Why am I saying associate and assistant professors? Because they are starters. The assistant professors are the beginners, and the associates are the midterm professionals. So they are hungry for success more. So they are hungry for more research, more academic work, more engagement. So for them, they are much interested in working more towards their achievement, their entitlement, conferences, and some of them are on tenure track. So they really want to work more. So when you get through them, they will like to work with you and they will get you a lot of work to do. And I think with that, you will be able to get the needed experience that you need for your studies. Yeah, that's why it is important to reach out to assistant and associate supervisors. And I talked about, I think I've talked about this. All right, now we go to framework for this email that I've talked to you about. After searching to know their interests that align with yours, you have jotted everything down. You have crafted your email or craft your email. What goes into emails? Cold email are emails that will reach out to professors, telling them about your interests, letting them know who you are and the program that you really want to do. So the subject line is important. Salutation, get to know who they are. If they are full professors or associate professor or whatever, some of them you will see doctor. If they are not yet professor, you just say Dr. Jima, dear Dr. Jima. If what beats me most of the time is like, their names. I fumble with knowing whether this is their first name or their last name. Therefore, I just go with the full name. Dear Professor Godwin Jima. It's very acceptable just to not be in troubles. Just type the full name to be safer. But if some of the names are very obvious, like Godwin Jima, you know that the Godwin is the first name, Jima is the last name. So dear Dr. Jima or dear Professor Jima is very okay. And then salutation. The salutation is what I just talked about. Now, introduction and purpose. Just tell them about yourself and the purpose for reaching out to them. Let them know your background and then their specific interest. What are the relevant skills that you have and how will it be beneficial to them and the program? And also requesting for your inquiry. Now, I provided example of each line that I talked about. Prospective, PhD, and interest in quantum computing research, and salutation as like, dear Professor Smith. Now, what comes into the introduction? I am writing to express my strong interest in your research on quantum error correction at the University of Asempane. Sefi Asempane, those of you from Sefi. So I just put in my own, created my own university. As a prospective PhD student in computer science, I am particularly intrigued by your recent work on typological quantum codes. Then you go, your background. I recently completed my master's in physics at the Asempenipa University, where I focused on quantum information theory. My thesis, optimizing quantum circuit, therefore NISQ devices align closely with your lab's current project. Now you see, they have brought in how their interests align with the ongoing project of the professor. Then it goes on with this specific interest. You really have to talk about some of these things, but this is someone who really, you can see that they have had research experience. And so they are talking about their work. They talk about their experience. They talk about the relevance of their work and their request. I will be grateful for the opportunity to discuss your current project and the possibility of joining your team as a PhD student. So that's how you go about couching your cold email. And when you are closing, just close like this. Thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward to the possibility of contributing to the groundbreaking work that's happening in your lab. And your signature, sincerely, Kwame Boache, BSc Asempenipa University. And I brought the full message here when I combine the whole work. Dear Professor Smith, I hope this message finds you well. I'm writing to express my strong interest in your research on quantum error correction. So you can see that I when I combine the whole work as a email to the professor, this is how it's going to be. There are a lot of samples. I mean, there is a general framework, but different ways of conveying the message. However, make sure that you are really pointing the important issues. Introduce yourself, let them know your interest, talk a bit about their research work or what you have really read about them that interests you. And so what is the point? What's the way forward? You are seeking to work in their lab, or if it is not their lab, maybe part of their research, their ongoing research projects, or asking to be their your supervisor. That's how it should be. So find a lot of samples online. And so this sample of mine is not the definite. So that don't just base on this. There are different people have different ways of writing their essays that really tell their stories. I think for now, these are the essentials of finding supervisor for your project and your studies. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Eben, for this insightful material that you've shared with us. So quickly, we want to go through the questions. You just please, because of our time, we've spent almost 2 hours. So don't thank us. I know at the end of it, or maybe somebody would have, but just go straight forward to your question. And if it is specific, mention the person's name. If it's general, we will also get some of them to come in. So please unmute yourself and then mute when you are done. Okay, thank you so much. And then we have questions section here.
Hello, please. Can we type the messages? Sorry, the questions in the chat box.
Yeah, you can also type. Okay.
Okay, I've typed mine there. I wanted to thought that would be easier.
So somebody said that can postgraduate work permit and funding be given at the same time? Okay, this is postgraduate. Postgraduate work permit is that when you are done with school, okay, so in US here for STEM programs, it's mostly 3 years, okay, we call it OPT, okay, and the non-STEM is 1 year, if I'm right. In every country they have, if you go to Germany, it's 18 months. If you go to UK, it's 2 years, Canada, dependent, okay, so it's not going to be given when, but you know that these are how it works in different countries. Okay, so quickly I'll say no, but it's not at the same time. Your funding is given at the beginning. If you complete the school, your postgraduate work permit is given to you. Okay, somebody is saying that please do well to help us with the list of universities that do not take application fees with and have application waivers. This is what we have taught you. Okay, this is what we have taught. We have taught you how to search for schools and how to search for information. So as you now do it, you get those information on the website, and any floating information, maybe like you're following some channel like our brother here who is Kingsford Onina, his channel, there are some extra information you will see over there. And also you can request for application fee waivers. And I will also advise that any school you apply, because you want to maximize the application, first of all, write an application fee waiver request to the graduate school or the graduate school coordinator, okay? And then ask that, okay, because of your financial situation, you are not able, can they, so maybe you intend to apply for 10 schools and you've written to all these 10 schools, maybe 5 are waiving you. So at the end of it, or you are going to get 5, then you will now budget for the rest of the 5. If you can afford 3, then the 2 that you can't afford, you take them off. Okay, so we are not here to give you every detail because we don't have it. Okay, but we're giving you the how to get those details. That's what I would say to that question. There is a question here. I will say, so I will read that somebody will answer it. So can someone I'm taking it again.
And can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those who are part of our WhatsApp group, what we intend doing is that if we come into contact with any institution that is offering an application waiver, we intend to share with you on the WhatsApp platform. So please be on watch.
Okay. Yeah.
I just posted the link here, so those who are interested to join. I mean the WhatsApp group link.
Okay.
I just
Yes.
copied and pasted it here.
Yeah. So I'm reading the next question for you to take it. For someone coming from university where GPA is not stated on transcript, do you recommend evaluation? Yeah, I think that's the most important. Yeah. Yeah. Eben, can you answer this question? Those coming from universities like CWA, like KNUST, they don't have the CGPA like those normal universities like University of, do they have to do evaluation?
Oh, with that, not necessarily doing evaluation. Sometimes, when you are doing the application, don't swear words as if those people who are accepting your application, they don't know much about where you are coming from, because you may not be the first KNUST person in the university, and the application goes to the higher pool, and we have admission officers. And so whenever they need transcript evaluation, they will tell you. Yes, they will tell you. You do not necessarily have to worry yourself with transcript evaluation if it is not stated on the program website, unless you are told to do so. Because when you send your application information with your transcript, they know how they convert it. Because I have a certificate in transcript evaluation process, and how they do it. Sometimes you just don't worry yourself unless it is stated that you need to do evaluation. Don't just put in your application. Yes.
Thanks for that response. And also, if you have to do evaluation, be very sure you can get admissions in that school, because now the admissions evaluation of one school can take you almost 420, minimum of $420. That can apply for so many schools without evaluation. But the other advantage is that as people are running from those schools, it means that you're going to be the competitiveness is going to be low as compared to those that don't require evaluation. So there are pros and cons. Just read, like he said, and then look at the what they are telling you. Okay, once there is funding, now take your time and read every bit, okay, and get the information. And if there are some other information that is not there, email the graduate coordinators and they will help you. I'm taking the next question here. I had admission to higher education student affairs for 2024, but was unable to secure funding. I want to defer to for 2025. Am I eligible for funding for 2025? Please can somebody take that question?
Okay. Can I answer that?
Yeah.
Okay. I am doing this program, and with funding, sense of entitlement comes in here. Even when you are given a funding this year, you can defer the program but not funding. In most cases, unless you are fortunate, maybe with a lab somewhere, but in general, offices do not really put their funding there for anyone. When you are deferring, be sure to start your funding application process earlier. So don't think that when you are deferring the program, you automatically get funding. No, it doesn't work like that. You are only deferring the program to the following year in your quest to get funding coming year, but it does not also automatically guarantee funding. You will still have to work for it, go through the rigorous process as everyone is going through. That's how it works. Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Please, I just have a follow-up question so that it can be answered. So
Okay.
for how many times or for how long can you defer program so you get funding?
I know mostly it's 1 year. In US, most of the schools you can defer up to 1 year. So you can defer to the next semester and also to the next one, the spring and then the fall, depending. But I know it's for 1 year, else you may have to reapply. But as you are doing it, now you have admissions, all you need is to be in contact with the graduate chairperson or looking at the handshake, like our brother said, and then try to be on the graduate school website, look at every bit of opportunity, and then be putting in the application. And this time you can also be mentioning that I already have application with this student number and I need this funding to cover up because do you understand? So some of these things you can be doing it. So I hope I've answered your question. I want to read the next question so that
and then
we don't.
to add up to when it comes to issues of you differing from one academic year or one semester to the other, usually I advise that maybe if it's just maybe from one semester to the other, that should be fine. But should it happen that maybe you deferred from fall 2024 to fall 2025, that is something that I mostly do not encourage that you do. Why may I be saying this? Because what usually happens is that when it comes to funding, especially in institutions where fundings are automatically added to admissions, it means that if they have new admissions or new applicants, they will focus more on the new individuals before giving you the opportunity. And so if the institution is saying that assistantship or fellowship are not awarded automatically, then in that instance, you might decide to defer maybe to the next academic year if things do not go as expected. So that way you can reapply for the funding or assistantship or fellowship opportunities. However, in institutions or programs where assistantships, fellowship, or funding are automatically given to people based on right after admission, it means that if you did not secure funding, maybe they receive too many applications. In that instance, I usually advise that maybe you might look for a different school, or if you want to resubmit another application, that can also be helpful. Because if you are waiting that, oh, I defer to next year, and per the department policy, funding are usually added to admission, like automatically added. It means you might still wait until maybe they receive a lower level of applicant before they can consider you for any funding opportunity.
Great input there. So the next question is for Kingsford. How were you able to afford the application fee for all the schools you applied? Yeah, Mr. Kingsford.
Pop from another meeting. I said, sorry, I left back. I'm back. Yeah, so that is a good question. That is a very good question. So what I did was that prior to my national service, I knew all the schools I was going to apply to. So I had shortlisted that, okay, Canada, I'm applying to Lethbridge, which was 140 Canadian dollars, Saskatchewan, 95, sorry, 95, yeah, Windsor, 125 Canadian dollars. These were very expensive amount of money. And Western Michigan was 100 USD, Ohio was 65, Western Illinois was around 35 or so. You see, I remember all this, like, you see, I'm mentioning specific amounts. That should let you know the breadth in which we've occupied. Yeah. So before that, someone will say, why would you want to pay for this? Why don't you just go for application fee waiver? The myth or the thing I'll say about application fee waiver is that I'm an economist. I don't believe in free lunch. When the thing becomes free, the pool of applicants increases. The law of large numbers, it becomes difficult to get in. So personally, what I did was I used we're teaching assistants. So what we did was that like 5 of us were like, okay, we are going to pull our resources together. The first month allowance, we're giving it to one of the TAs to do whatever investment they want to do with. Somebody suggested this. So I had the first month, Charlie, I used all the money to go and do my application. So just imagine, I was really starving during the national service. These are my personal experience. I'm not saying go and do that, but I'm basically saying that have the schools in view, look at your sources. I had some key stakeholders in my church. By God's grace, I had my results and everything prepared. I remember I went to Sunyani, the former, I think, Vice Chancellor. So I went to see him. I was like, Professor, this is what I want to do. I know you know how this thing works. And I went with my schools, my transcript, everything that these are the schools I've compiled. I want to pursue this dream. And it was like, you don't even have money to pay application fee. Do you know what this thing entails? But the man helped me and he was like, I'm washing my hands like Pharaoh. I'm just helping you in this capacity. He helped me. I went through it and here I am. So it is expensive. My national service allowance and soliciting fund from key stakeholders My uncles, they are there, you know, so you have some key people in your life that you can reach out to. But please don't overdwell on application fee waiver. I know I'm talking a lot, but don't overdo application fee waiver. That should be your backup plan, but not your main plan. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great input over there. And sometimes too, if you are somebody who keeps good friends, you have good friends, some of them can help you, especially those in the state can help you. But if you are just taking advantage, you have not chat the person for 1 year, you don't, the person, now you won't help, you're now getting back. I think this is not good. But if you have good friends, for example, my friends helped me, like Mr. Onyina also said, I also borrowed money and then use it. So the whole of my national service, I didn't spend anything. Anytime I receive, I have to use it to pay for the, even though I didn't get anything out of it, but later years, it yielded a results. Okay, so don't expect results. Sometimes it can take some few days, but don't. The most important thing is that you are not giving up. If you give up, that is the end of every investment. Okay. Yeah. So I'll go back to
There's
the chat.
one thing too. People want their friends to help them, but they don't want to help themselves. Right. So if my friend is Onyina, oh, Charlie, can you pay this for me this year? What I was doing with Godwin typically. So Godwin will pay something for me in dollars and he will let me pay it to his sister in Ghana. You see that kind of thing? But because I'm friend with Godwin, we were like this. We were sleeping in the same room at Casford and my mama. So I think that it is just Godwin. Why is he not doing? People do not really understand some of these things. When you are serious in life, don't think that friendship should just be entitlement. I like that Onyina's statement. Entitlement. You are not entitled by anyone that because he's your friend, he's your brother automatically. Meanwhile, you are also working. We are all trying in life. So help me so that I can also help you. When you want me to review something for you, don't think that I'm coming to write for you entirely. I will take money from you. If you really want me to do everything for you, I'll take money. If you really want me to review something or read something out through, I'll say, okay, do this, do this. But don't push it on me that by helping you, I am doing it for you. It does not work like that because it does not, you don't achieve that gold on silver platter like that. Thank you.
Yeah, good. So we are not going to pay any all the things for you. I helped some people, somebody in 2023, $170. Ever since he has not responded to my chat anymore. So
was it like a loan or what? Was it like a loan?
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I help him to pay back, but he never. So this is what people do. So if you are contacting your friends in the US and they maybe they have some bad experience, so just bear with us, okay? We will give you the information. We'll try as much as possible to help you, but it may not be that's how you think. So let's take the next question, okay? Somebody is saying that can you submit a transcript for a PhD application? I meant a level 100 to 400 first semester. If I understand, let me take this. If I understand your question, it means that you are not completed. Yes, mostly if you are in your final year, at least maybe you're done with the first, you are in your last semester, you can do your application with the ones you have, especially if you have a good CGPA. Yeah, that's what I would say. The next question also goes to Onyina. He said, which semester do you recommend for entry? Which semester? Yes, Onyina.
Yeah, I think I've already touched on that. I said that those who are watching us right now, you are fortunate. The study abroad process is not a rush. Somebody will be thinking that they want to come here in January. Don't rush it. The best semester I recommend is the fall semester. That is next year, 2025. That is starting in August. If you want to come here next year, 2025, the application opens this year, August 2024. I hope it's not confusing. If you want to come here 2025 in August, the application opens in August 2024. And I said something, those who are listening very well, priority deadline, the deadline for funding consideration. It's not about the best semester to apply, it's about the best semester and concurrently being able to meet the funding deadline for consideration.
Please, can
Okay,
I add something?
Okay.
Please, I started my program in a summer semester, that is in May, and it's the people are buying a flight ticket was not that much, so it was quite okay for me. But when my friend who came to Yale came late in August, a lot of people were coming to school, so the cost of the flight ticket has increased. So depending on the program, the level of program you're coming to pursue, either master's or PhD, and the school you are coming to, if there is a window for you to come in January or May or August, just get yourself, because the truth is that when you know the application deadline and you are able to meet that deadline, the time for you to go to school, there's a expedite process at the embassy for you to get a visa and all those processes. And so for me, depending on those situations, I wouldn't be so fixated on the semester. I'm hoping that, hey, if you get summer semester, come, because that semester people are not busy, and so you have time to kind of get to know the system slowly before the summer semester starts.
Okay.
Because one of the courses I took in the first semester, I came, if it was in the fourth semester, I would have collapsed and died because because I wasn't seeing top at all. But because it was summer semester, there were only there was only one course that I did. But in the fourth semester, you have to take at least 9 credits, which can be very high level of demand. And if I'm expressing myself right, so please, any time you can enter, please come. And if you come to a better school like University of Florida, you can come in this semester.
Yeah, so
Hello.
yeah, one thing that I want to add is that when it comes to the entry time, I know that about 99.9% of Ghanaians, we are interested in institutions where we can secure funding. And usually the idea of 4 semester comes in because in the 4, but maybe by May, most of the graduate assistants, research assistants, fellowships and others, people are graduating. So they need new workers to work with them. Yeah, but if you have the money and then you think maybe you don't need funding, or sometimes there is the possibility that maybe you reach out to a professor and the person will be like, oh, I'm working on this project, I'm ready to provide funding for you. You can come in the summer, you can come in the spring, or you can come in maybe the fall semester or any other semester. In that case, you have a different instance. But in an instance whereby you try to navigate the website and then you check the funding opportunities, in most instances, it is easier to get funding for starting the academic year from 4th semester because there are mostly many opportunities as compared to maybe the spring or the summer semester. But that notwithstanding, if you're able to get in touch with a professor and the person is ever ready to provide all the needed financial assistance to you, or maybe you have the financial support from maybe your family members or anyone, and you think entering in summer is okay for you, you can also go for it. That's also fine.
Yeah, that's good one there. So the next question is, would you recommend I apply for PhD instead of MA if I have a good CGPA? Do I stand a good chance of getting admission to the funding compared to MA? Yeah, somebody can take this one.
I think so. The person is having like a master's in Ghana, or what?
No, first degree, only first degree.
First degree.
Only first degree. And the person is trying to say, is she apply? Should the person apply for straight PhD or MA before PhD? Right?
Yeah.
What program is the person applying to?
For Henry or
Okay, the person is okay. I thought that was the person talking. Anyways, the reason why I wanted to ask her this question is that I did a session, I think last year also, English language. Yes, for English, hardly do they let you apply for straight PhD. Okay, You can get straight PhD, but it's hardly. I would recommend you do masters first. There are a lot of funding for English, like Illinois State and Co. Look at those schools, Maryland and Co. You get funding at the master's level before you go to the PhD. There are a lot of funding because the communication, English, and those departments, they have a lot of teaching openings. So they've got funding at the master's level as the PhD as well. But for those who have masters in Ghana, that's why I wanted to answer this question before my seniors would come in. If you have masters in Ghana, one advantage, and I'm sure one of our seniors who had masters in Ghana before coming, I think is probably, I've forgotten a person. If you have masters in Ghana, like an MPhil, or like Ghana is normally MPhil or MSc, don't only apply for PhD, add masters. The graduate program you did in Ghana is a stepping stone. You have higher chance of getting funding on the average. Let's say all other things being equal, you and an undergrad is applying for a master's and you already have masters. That master's gives you a higher pedestal over the undergrad. That's what I want to say.
Just take this one, add this one. I have MPhil from UCC. I got PhD admission with no funding. Should I try an MA?
Yeah, try an MA. You have higher chance. Trust me, you will come and testify. You will set for me a link and testify next year that you did it and you had it.
Okay, so on the first question, I know people with only first degree who apply for PhD straight away and they got admission with funding. But that lady, she was the best graduating engineering student at Kenya University. And so she was a top notch. And when I was giving a short talk, I said, look for the best schools. When you look for the best schools in your field and you are applying, there's a likelihood that you get funding for your PhD. And the reason why I will recommend that all of us look into PhD as compared to masters is that's my personal opinion. I have not done any research about that. Is that there are a lot of people all over the world applying for masters, or the number of people applying for masters are more. So it is extremely competitive. And so with a PhD, there are a limited number of people who go there. So if you have a very good GPA and you've identified one of the best schools like University of Florida, and you find a professor who has funding, go for it.
Yeah.
Yes, go for it. Yeah. I want you to remember University of Florida because it's one of the best schools. But I want to tell you that when you're looking for school, those who have money are the best schools. It's not any school that is kind of having partial scholarship or any other thing. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me add to what you said. So you are looking at life sciences, okay? I mean, some of the courses are science research, okay? When you come to the life sciences, chemistry, the biology,
agriculture,
the chemistry, agric, and then if some physical sciences, okay, engineering, okay, computer sciences, then you come to some applied sciences and then education. So you would be able to know that, okay, this program, they will tell you, okay. But when it comes to the humanities, arts, then you will be very specific and make sure that you go through the master's first before the PhD. It's not that you even waste your time, because this is how they do it. You take the master courses and then you enter with the research. So you may not waste time, even if you are coming with masters, but just read, but know your level, your field, and then it will help you. There is a question here. What's the difference between an SOP and personal statement? Godwin, please, can you help us?
Well, I know that when it comes to the difference between these two is, personally, I use the two interchangeably. And usually what I've seen is that if an institution is requesting for a personal statement, they will provide a couple of tips, the expectations, what they are expecting from your end. to include in the personal statement. But that notwithstanding, the statement of purpose is more or less also talking about your personal statement as well. Just that one thing that I've observed is that when it comes to personal statement, you focus more on your personal experiences. How has your experiences been? From your past experiences, your present experiences, and then what you are hoping to achieve in the future. And then when it comes to the statement, that's the personal statement. And then the statement of purpose, you devote a section to why you are interested in that particular school. But even with the personal statement, you're also expected to bring that form of connection or linkage between your past and present experiences, your future aspirations, and how these experiences even connect with the program that you are interested in. And so if you see just personal statement or statement of purpose, I believe you can provide a statement of purpose in place for a personal statement. But when you are asked to write a personal statement, sometimes they may provide you with the details or the expectations that they need based on that.
Yeah, great. You've covered everything. Yeah. Somebody said that I have mathematics and stats failed. Do we also have higher chance of getting funding? It's yes. Very, very big yes. So go ahead and search for school. The next question is it easy to apply for research assistantship position in universities? That's pre-doctoral. Mr. Kingsford, can you answer that? Is it easy to apply for research assistantship position in universities? That pre-doctoral.
Quite easy for the dictionary, okay? This process is not an easy process, okay? That's why it's an award. Whenever they give you an assistantship, it's an award, because understand that there are lots of other equally qualified, applicants, and it takes only grades and some other metrics. So I wouldn't say it's easy. And pre-doctoral thing, I got to know about it when I got into my doctoral program. I didn't know it was a thing that in the US. So yes, but normally for an international student, restriction and stuff. So just look for master's or PhD, and unless maybe they'll be willing for you to do it online. Let's say you do it whilst you're in Ghana. Such openings, I would say go for it. But I don't know how the visa stuff work when it comes to the predictorial stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think one university that does that is Penn State University.
Yeah, Penn State.
Or Penn University. I've forgotten. So
it's in Pennsylvania. I think it's a school. I've seen a school like that, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think is it Emory or Emory? Yeah.
Emory too. They have such offerings.
Yeah. So I mean, you can apply if that suits you. Just try. There's nothing like it's easy or it's difficult, because now everybody wants to make. It's the competitiveness that makes it easy or difficult. So yours is to put in an effort, know the tricks like we are doing here, and then try your best. Okay. Yes, so please, you can open the microphone and then also speak as we read. Somebody's question is, please, do we have higher chance of getting funding in religious studies for masters? Godwin, I think you have experience there.
Yeah, so one thing that I wanted to add is that, so first of all, when it comes to how programs are structured and mounted in the US, Canada, and other places, they are a bit different from how we mount and structure our programs in Ghana. And so sometimes you might be interested in maybe master's or PhD in religious study. It becomes difficult because such specialization might not be in the US. I've seen a couple of schools where sometimes there is a PhD or master's in religion, but sometimes some of the programs, maybe if your focus was in education, you have to go for maybe curriculum and instruction or the broader education program, and then you allow your research interest or the research focus to center on the particular area that you were interested in. And so religion or religious study, you might get something of that sort. But that notwithstanding, even though we are all interested in getting the visa to come to the US, one advice that of late I've been giving to people who come to my DMs or people that I do chat with is that beyond entering the US, what are the goals? What are the the career aspirations after school. Because now the job market is hot. It's so difficult to get a job after school. And so if you don't place yourself in a strategic way, especially if your program is not in the STEM or in the sciences, science, technology, engineering, maths, if your program is outside of these programs, especially those in the social sciences, humanities, liberal arts, and others, it's quite difficult for you to get a job after school. And so if you enter with history, anthropology, and others, you need to place yourself more in a strategic way so that after school you can get a job. And so sometimes you might decide to apply for maybe history or other programs, maybe 1 or 2 applications. And then beyond that, I also advise that you submit an application to maybe any other program that has a higher potential. It could be education, it could be maybe student affairs and others, so that at least you use that program as a standby program, just in case if you are able to secure funding, you can also depend on that program as well. So that after school, you wouldn't just be moving up and down, struggling to get a job, because sometimes it becomes so difficult for you to get a job.
Yeah, thank you so much for that input. You see, this thing is, if you think that after you've gotten admissions, okay, that is all, you are an island, you don't connect to anyone. I mean, at the end of the program, you're going to face. But if you come and, like he's saying, you connect very well, you position yourself very well. I mean, the entry is another thing, and then getting a job is another thing. You get ideas. Now, even people are able to get their green card through national interest waivers before completing their programs, especially those doing PhD. But if you come and you think that you have arrived, you don't connect. There are so many people I know. I don't care about that, but I know there are some people who got admissions through my guidance. They came here even before I even heard, and we lost connection. Do you understand? What we're trying to do is to build a larger society so that we can help our continent. So if you want to be successful after you have moved from Ghana, you still need your colleagues, you still need human beings like those who guided you. And then we'll grow in a larger community and help our continent. God bless you for that intake. Let me take this question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask something quick. I think there are a couple of. So yeah. I see that someone asked a question about maybe adding religious volunteer or other those kind of stuff to your resume or your CV. That's fine. And so when you are working on your resume or your CV, you might have volunteers or other activities that are related to religious activities. I remember when I was at UCC, I attended GAB and then I attended other evangelism programs. But on your CV or your resume, you need to present it in alignment with what you are hoping to apply for.
Great.
And so sometimes we might be getting involved in so many activities, going for GAP, going for evangelism activities and others. But you need to shape it in a way that if someone sees it on your resume or your CV, they can see that this is the connection. Sometimes you might just be working as maybe a Bible study coordinator or any other, maybe you were leading a Bible study session during one of the Bible study programs. You might place it as a Bible study or a church facilitator or a mentor. And so the key word there becomes more of what? Mentoring or serving as an advisor to other group of people, or you serving as a facilitator, or you serving as supporting maybe like weaker people in society, providing the needed support for people in society. When you are applying for institutions, especially some Christian institutions, when I was applying for a professor position, some of them requested that I write a statement of faith. Some also requested I write a statement about my contribution to the Christian fraternity. And so sometimes you can hit on some of these issues, especially if the institutions are Christian or religious institutions, like Notre Dame and other Christian institutions. And then someone also asked, the person said, oh, I'm a level 100 student. If you happen to be a level 100 student, this is a platform for you to learn more so that you can plan and prepare well. Back at UCC, I think one of the things that most of us, we miss a lot was that if you had received some of these ideas in your level 100 or 200 days, you would have been far gone. Because once you receive this information, then when you are working on your resume, your CV, extracurricular activities and others, you know that there is the need for you to polish or focus on certain areas. But that notwithstanding, there are some instances where there are some other scholarship openings. And so over time, we intend to also share more about some of these scholarships as well that you can also submit application. And someone also asked about opportunity to review their SOP, resume and others. You can reach out to, I don't know if Kingsford is ready for that, but our brother Ebenezer Boache and then Moses, if you're also ready for that. And then I don't know about our brother Daniel. So if you go there, you are going there to pay because they also have other things, they also have other commitments, they have other works to do. So if you want someone to review your document for you, at least be ready for extra pay, especially if you don't have any connection with the person. If there's no relationship between you and the person, then it means you are ready to pay. So our brother Eben, and then I don't know for Moses. Moses, are you ready?
I think for me, I do it for free, but last time I saw that you review some people's document, they don't even apply, they don't even get back to you, they just waste your time. So what I'm doing this time is that I have some people who I've trained, they are also good. They will review your document and you appreciate them. For me, I don't need anything. When they update your document to some level, then lastly you come and then we discuss it together and then you go. But just appreciate those people. It's no, you can't pay them, but just appreciate them. But yeah, I think some people are not helping the system.
And then there's someone who said that I'm focusing on mathematics and statistics. Can I apply? Mathematics and statistics, you don't have to stay in Ghana. There are so many programs out here and there are so many opportunities. Data science, actuarial science and others. Move, focus and submit application. There are so many. Education. One thing that I've observed about the education programs is that sometimes you see the broader education program, maybe curriculum and instruction. And then there are other specific specializations that you can focus on. So go ahead, submit your application to the department for maybe curriculum and instruction, and then you can focus on any special research or any interest that you are interested in focusing on. And if you are in level 300 or level 400, that's the time that you need to, you can even start your application. You don't have to wait till you graduate, unless maybe you want to wait till you are done with your national service or maybe during the national service time. But you can start with your application once you get to the level 400 time. If your transcript is still not completed, maybe you are in your final year, you are still waiting for your final semester, you can still go ahead and then submit the application.
There are a couple of questions we jumped from the first stuff. Let me just read them and then we try to see. Somebody said that I did first and second degree in marketing. I had difficult getting funding when you do business related courses. Is there a chance for me? Yeah, who is taking that?
Yeah, there's a chance for you. You see, I think Godwin just mentioned something. Try to link, don't be like, stiff with an area. You have to be flexible. And more especially, linking your area with technology. So in those marketing areas like this, do you want to get into data science? Because I know they have business analytics and business. So how does the marketing link with the modern day or the modern job market? Okay, on the world market, look around yourself to see how marketing fits or how it goes with other related areas on the field today. Because if you want to be in marketing, which aspect of marketing, this will lead you into your research interest. So just try to vary them. But even the marketing on its own, saying that business programs do not have funding, you really have to search, because I have currently at Indiana State University, one of my friends that Baba I completed with came from Presby University, a private university, I think in Accra or Eastern region. That she had a full funding here. We came together, and she has completed and trying to pursue a PhD now. So, and there are a couple of with currently the School of Business here. We have, I think, 3 Ghanaians, those in the first year that are going to the second year now. We have 3 Ghanaians, JB, Kingsley, and there's one that came just this spring. They all have funding. So I do not see how it all depends on how you try to maneuver your areas of interest with the current that are running. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. There's one question here. I just joined late, but anything about undergraduate for nurse with diploma? Yes. If you want to apply, there is opportunity, and even if you have diploma, you can use that as an opportunity to enter, write their nursing as soon as licensure exams, as soon as you come, and then maybe change your visa to what do you call it, a green card. Later on, when you want to continue with education, you can continue, because the health sector, you have a special preference. You may not be able to get that preference for those who are doing other programs, but for health workers, you have a special preference. There's one question here. Please, regarding recommendations, if a master's degree applicant completed first degree about a decade ago, he also have a self-employed individual, and as a result, he cannot get a lecturer or a supervisor to write recommendation letters, blah, blah, blah.
I get that
okay?
point. Yes. You see, as an Adventist, my main is the phone you say Subam Papa Bedia dance. Most of the time, you do not, yes, there's this gap there. But how you have helped people in your associations, in your church or Islamic religious organizations, or which groups you join, these are crucial moments. That's why it is important to associate yourself with an organization or with a group, and also try to contribute. It got to a time that an organization that reached out to me for me to be their CEO. I was just laughing. And I was like, why do you want me to be your CEO? Say, because you are this, you are that, you are that. And I had to take the pain to take them through the process of formalizing the organization and those kind of things. And at the end of the day, I made the lady who reached out to me to write a recommendation for me. Okay, so I termed her as the founder. Now, at the time that I took the recommendation from her, she was doing undergrad. And with some of these things, you also have to explain to the school that you are applying to that this is your situation. And so even when they are seeking for academic supervisors recommendation, let them know your situation, so that if it is your religious leader who will get you a funding, or your organization, a recognized organization that will get you funding. If you are a farmer, whatever, or a cocoa farmers association, who is your leader, you can lead them to write a good recommendation for you. If you are you are in a certain religious organization, you have to contact your leader in the organization to write a good recommendation for you. So these are the time which your behaviors, your contribution become crucial, especially if you have this disconnect with your academic people. And so, yes, it is possible, and people do it all the time, but let the school know those who are giving you the recommendation because of your situation. And it does not, this will not affect your admission chances. It all depends on quality of the things, the materials you are submitting, SOP, whatever you are submitting. And with that, if you have good intention and good write-ups, supporting document, why not? They grant admission. Thank you.
Good. There's a question here. I'm studying BSc Geography and Regional planning, level trended. I went through some masters that I can do. I keep seeing masters in urban and regional planning. Will it be relevant to do masters in that? Yeah, mostly what I would advise is that, I mean, just look at, do you qualify for it? Do you understand? Is it your area? Do you have interest in it? Do you qualify for it? Does it have funding? Or if you want to fund yourself, okay? And what would be related? I mean, this is program you are pursuing, and it should open your mind to the opportunities around that program, okay? So please, this is question that you need to work on it by yourself, but there are programs, I think, around civil engineering, geography, and then urban planning. I think we are facing a lot of environmental challenges and there's funding. So what can you do? What can you bring to the board will help? Okay. So
yes, in addition to that, geography and regional planning has a lot to do. They have connection with urban and regional planning. So the more you search and you get these ones popping up, it should tell you that then there's a certain connection. Read about it to know how they connect so that it will help you to couch your interest in your SOP or personal statement. That's how it is done. Because if it is the area that you get funding, like our brother Moses said that in the environmental aspect, how does the geography and regional planning program connect with the environment? Because basically they are just about the environment, but how are you trying to connect with them? And the urban and regional planning masters, yes, they are very connected, and you need to read about them, because I have friends who did those areas.
there's another question, maybe for the sake of audience, maybe some of them have been taking have been answered in the chat, but for the sake of the audience, please, if you decide to be a teaching assistant after your first degree, can you also help getting funding for? Yeah, of course, it gives you an advantage because you have a experience. Okay, so if you have opportunity to be a TA, do it, because you are on campus, you have the internet, you have so many advantages. Okay, to do your application. If you have the opportunity to be a TA, you can, but notwithstanding, so there are some industrial opportunities that can also help you later in life. Okay. Yeah. So there's some question here. So those asking for specific programs, yeah, they are giving you, but I mean the main stuff is what we have covered, how to do it. Teaching people how to fish is the best way. That's what we have done initially. So if you keep on asking specific, yeah, it means that you want, in a way, the easy side, which is also not what we want. But our boss is giving you some of the schools. Okay, and that's fine. Yeah, so we can still take some other questions if we have time.
There's one there on agriculture.
Yeah.
Yes, whoever asks for that, you can apply.
Yeah.
So when you say MS in agriculture, it's too broad. Look, I have studied agriculture from secondary school to PhD, and I don't know even anything in agriculture. So, so please know the areas in agriculture and
Yeah.
get to know the specific field you are interested in. So I did horticulture, and when we say horticulture, we have many branches under horticulture. There is another umbrella in agriculture called agronomy.
Yeah.
And these are all crop sciences. We have plant pathology. That's another broad area. So you just have to know what's your interest and where you think you can pursue. Again, even I did horticulture, and within horticulture, we have flower section, you have vegetables, we have fruit section. I just did only fruit. And within fruit, I just specialized on nutrition, stress physiology, and post-harvest handling. I didn't do everything. So just get to know what interests you and go for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, there are some areas, if you are struggling for funding, you need things. Something like you are doing mathematics and statistics. I mean, there's a bunch. You are doing agriculture. It's too much. Chemistry. Do you understand? There are some areas you don't have to even ask those questions because they hold human life so dearly. So there are a lot of funding for them, okay? Even though some other people may struggle, but not these areas that we have mentioned. Okay. There's one question that I learned PhD funding does not cater for summer. How true is it? Can somebody help with that?
Is that what?
PhD funding doesn't cover summer semester. How true is that?
You see, there are different types of funding. And so the funding differ from program to program, department to department, and school to school. So sometimes I may be doing the same program with Moses, but our funding types differ. Moses may have a full funding, which is like annual, about 12-month funding, but mine may be 10 months. This means that when my funding starts from August, by the end of by the middle of May, that school, the full academic year has come to an end, my funding has ended. But Moses' own may still run because he is on the 12-month funding, which means that it runs through the summer. Sometimes a department may give you, or an office may give you funding for 10 months, which you are ending in mid-May, but there are still chances of getting funding in the summer. So it varies. It does not mean zero absence. There are various schools that offer summer funding, but in most of the schools too, summer funding is not part of the main the funding that you are given, but it does not mean that you will not get funding during the summer. You will get funding, but it is not part of your main funding opportunities. I think Godwin has a lot to.
Yeah, and personally, I know that we all have different experiences and different perspectives. Personally, I know that in the sciences, in most cases, your funding will be for maybe like the entire 12 years. Because even in the summer, you still be working at the lab. But personally, I love the 9-month or 10 months contract compared to the 12 months. Because I know that for each summer, I can always get an internship whereby I can go off campus, build up my experience. And in most instances, you might get the opportunity to work on a paid internship. An unpaid internship, by the time the summer is over, you can even earn about maybe 5,000 or more. Whilst the others who may be working on campus will still be taking maybe something less than 3,000. And sometimes it might even be difficult for them to even get more to save. And so if you get funding that is 9 months or 10 months, but renewable compared to you securing a 12-month funding, that's fine. In the summer, usually by August, September, you start searching for internship. So that by summertime, you go out there and work on internship basis. And for some of the people that I know, it was through the off-campus internship that they went, that they had the opportunity to secure jobs after school. So some, they even received contracts from the company even before their graduation because the opportunity was already created for them. And besides, you also acquire the experience, the off-campus experience, as against you solely working as a teaching assistant or research assistant, especially if you are not interested in academia. If you are open in working as a professor and also working as maybe a researcher or in any other industry field, then getting that opportunity to work on off-campus internship will also be more beneficial. So don't worry much about that.
Yeah, I would say that this comment from Dr. Godwin is something that if you have grabbed it, you need to give him some tip. You need to pay for this. Knowledge. You know, even when they give you the 12 months, sometimes they cripple you and you don't have experience. You can be given the 12-month funding, and if you don't convince your professor to get an experience, getting out of the program, and then it's very difficult for you to get a job. So those who have the 9 months is one of the best you can. You can get the industrial experience by doing those internships and build your CV and get a job as early as possible. So please, if you have 12 months, find a way to convince your boss so that at least one semester you can go. And some people have been making a lot of money even from the internships. God bless you, Mr. Godwin, for that knowledge you've given us. Okay. So I don't know if you have some other persons. I think I've read all of them.
Any final questions?
Mike asked about what are some of the education courses, or you have dealt with that already?
You can read the question.
What are some of the education courses I can get regarding geography as a major course? I'm doing BEd Social Sciences.
For BS Social Science, you can focus on social studies education. Aside that, you can also focus on the broader curriculum and instruction. And then within that, you can be doing your geography research. And I know that student affairs and higher education is also open, it's more open, irrespective of your area of specialization in education. And then for geography, you can also move forward for Master of Science in Geography. University of Toledo, they have that particular program. A friend of mine graduated from the master's and then went ahead for the PhD. So you can check that. University of Toledo, and then I think Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo. These two institutions, you can also check on them for Master of Science in Geography. So whenever you are searching for the program, as I keep emphasizing, be more strategic. If I have statistics and then maths as my combined major, I would apply for education, but the education will become my standby program. Instead, I will go in for the Master of Science or maybe the mathematics option, because I know that there's a higher job market out there. But that notwithstanding, because I'm also interested in getting the opportunity to enter the US through the education route, I also apply to maybe education or other programs as well as a standby program. But if I'm able to secure admission and funding for two different programs, then that way I might decide for the one that I intend to go in for. So be more strategic. I know that we all want to enter the US, but in as much as you are thinking about, oh, which courses do I have the easy access to admission and funding, also be more strategic. Which courses can I secure funding? And also, even after school, I wouldn't be struggling. So you can apply for maybe those cheap courses, like I'm sorry to say cheap courses, not cheap courses. Yeah, you can apply for courses that maybe it is easy for you to gain admission and funding. So maybe you apply for some of those courses and then you go for other courses or other programs that sometimes it may be difficult for you to get the funding or admission. So that way you can balance between the two. And as my senior brother Daniel was talking about going for the best school, you know yourself, you know your CGPA. And then you also know your experiences. One thing about study abroad, Jenny, is that when you are submitting application, sometimes if you are entering the US for the first time, depending on how large your experiences might be, you going for the top schools might not be the best option for you. And so if you are interested in submitting 4 applications, you can go for one top school, and then you can go for maybe the middle level school, and then you go for the average school. Because some of the institutions, if you apply for all top schools, it means the competition is very high. And once the competition is very high, sometimes your CGPA might even be 3.7, 3.8. And you might get admission, but you may never get the funding. So always make a decision that, okay, I'm going for maybe one top school, maybe one middle, maybe the others as the average or the lower level schools. then you pair them in that rank. It doesn't mean that those in the lower level schools are not good. They are equally good, but you can come in with a master's, build up your experiences, and then afterwards you can transition into the bigger school for your PhD. Personally, that was my route. I went to an institution that is not more of the top 10 US institutions. And then during my PhD level, I moved a step further towards that. And so that's also something that you also need to check, so that when you are making the selection, you are being guided by that, knowing that this is my CGPA, this is my experiences as well. And these are information that we've shared with you, but it also depends on your input as well. You need to put in the work. You need to put in the work. I don't know whether Moses or Boache or like Daniel or anyone is ready to do application for people. Personally, I'm not in for that. But if you are ready to pursue this journey, you have a role to play. Even if you have all the money, you are ready to pay and others, you also have a role to play. There are many opportunities out there. There are many schools out there. But you as an individual, you also have a role to play in getting to that level in order for you to secure this opportunity. There are many opportunities over here. If you are done with school, please, there are many opportunities. Even if you want to contribute to our dear Ghana economy, you can come here, get a degree, and then return back to Ghana. There are so many opportunities out there. And that is why most of us on this line, we have championed this as a cause or as a goal, something that is so dear to our heart, that we will continuously be organizing these sessions with the hope of what? Guiding you, providing you all the tips and all the ideas that you need. So please go ahead, keep on exploring. There are so many programs out there, so keep on checking on them. Yeah, I don't know if there are some final words from Moses, Eben, Daniel, Kingsford, and then we end for the session.
Yeah, I'll just take the last question
Okay.
and then I'll give my final words. So, be it home economics, you can do family studies, you can do nutrition, you can also do early childhood education, and what you think is related, depending on how knowledgeable you are in your field, you can find other stuff. Okay, so the little tips I will give you as I conclude for this session is that, okay, please, if you are not good in doing research, please don't use phone for this journey. Get a laptop. Okay, because there are some interfaces you may not be able to know. Get a laptop. Get a bundle plan. Like in Ghana here, there's unlimited unless your home has a Wi-Fi. Get a bundle plan. Buy more. If you buy more, like 500, you will be saving more than those who are buying 10 Ghana, because that 500 can take you most 6 months. Okay, so do that. Sit at home. Get plan, maybe every day 2 hours for this. When you come back home, open your laptop and do it. If you do this way and read, then you'll be asking questions. I think you'll be successful and you can do the next degree with no fee, with less stress. You can change your passport status if you are in favor of those people. You can change your status, and a lot of things can happen to you, your family, your background. You can do a lot. Thank you so much for your audience. Have a nice time.
Okay, thank you all for joining, and I'll end by saying that Godwin said, I said good school, or best school, best school. So I want to touch on that. So I was in the same lab with a certain lady from from Nepal. That is a country that shares border with India. And the lady was done with her master's and she was going to another school for her PhD. So the professor was so much interested in having her. And so she asked the professor, why do you want me to be your student? And the professor said, because you are from UF. UF is the school I attended, that's the University of Florida. that can tell you that as Ghana, name of schools play a role in some things. It also does here. So I agree with Godwin. You can go with a moderately performing school, and then afterwards you go to the best school. Or if you are like me, I did my master's in Ghana, and when I was coming for PhD, I went for the best. Now, if I want to do branch from agriculture and do something law or accounting or something, I think there are few school options available for me. That is Harvard, Yale, or if there is something more than Harvard and Yale. That's me. So if you are dreaming, please dream big. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Ebenezer, any final words? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Daniel, you are very right. That is why I think it is important to really know yourself. The first thing is self-assessment. In the Akana day, you see, I cry, new recruit say, dreaming big. Yes, when you know yourself, you really, and in the United States here, the one who attended Yale and those who attended whatever university, they all get a job to do. Okay, so that's another thing. The most important one is funding. I mean, dreaming big is best, as Daniel said. I'm not really brushing off his point. What I'm adding to it is that do your self-assessment first to know there are some high achievers like Daniel. If you are not there, don't be dreaming certain dreams and worry God about certain unnecessary prayers. Yours is there. That's why there are chances for every individual. Obi be a doctor, and obi nso a nurse abopane, obi na be work office ahwe doctors in krata. Nti doctor onu entua ne ho ka. So these are the essentials that we should know, okay? The dream should be in accordance with what you have so that you can see what scale you will go. Another point that I want to touch on too is that this program that those of you in the BEd, whatever, you have bigger chances. Once you have completed the undergrad, you can enter into higher education, you can enter into curriculum and instruction, you can enter into student affairs. These three main programs alone have a bunch of branches when you enter in there. That's why it's essential to read about them, because in student affairs alone, when you come to almost every office in the United States, or almost every office in the universities in the United States, they are all workers that are coming from the student affairs program. Almost. Curriculum instruction, when you enter there, you can do economics, you can do social studies, whatever area, religious studies. So just find an area that will help you to get the funding and your chances of coming here. Under that, you can still go and do your the concentration. If it's economics, you can do curriculum instruction, maybe economics concentration. Okay, that's how the flexibility of most of the programs that allow you to take courses from certain departments so that it becomes your own area of specialization. So that's one advantage of those in education. And I think even those in the sciences, you also have those advantage. The most essential aspect is read to know the connections that you can create. If it's education, how do I connect education with maybe technology? Even currently, there are a lot of people who did education. In student affairs, they are doing educational technology. They did art at SHS, they did BEd art at university, but currently they are in the sciences because they are doing technology in connection with education, educational technology. When they finish, they get about 3 years of OPT. I mean, this one will come later. If let's say something like national service you are doing, 3 years of national service you can do, but those who did not pursue the sciences, they only have 1 year. So you should know the blend of the order of the day so that you'll be able to know the chances of enhancing your chances of coming here. These are the essentials, and the guidance is also important. If you don't know, just ask. Most of us are there. We can review for you, like Moses, like this, for me too. We do reviews. When you do something, we can go through for you to say, okay, do it this way, do it this way, this way, this way. It will become a full work when you put the things on us. Okay, can you do this for me? The whole thing you do it for me, then we charge you, or some people like myself, I will charge you to do the whole thing for you. And with that, it's not as if I'm even doing it just like that, but you also have a part to play. So let us know our part to play, how we can get consultation from our colleagues, friends. We are all here to guide us. We all got the guidance from our colleagues. That's why we are also helping other people. So let us take the chances of our friends and colleagues. Let us spread our tentacles, and I think that all shall be well. The journey remains forward. Thank you.
All right, I can see that someone said the moderators spoke more about education. My background is in education. Ebenezer's background is also in education. But I believe, and then Moses spoke about chemistry. Daniel spoke about agriculture, horticulture, and then Kingsford also spoke about economics and public policy. And then Esther also spoke from the perspective of communication. And so we try to touch base from the different angles, just that as we continue to talk, each of us try to what? And set our educational experiences to see how things unfold. Yeah, and so these are the information that we provided for you. When we are done, our brother Moses will post the recording on the channel, and afterwards we will look forward in sharing the link so that you can also continuously read or learn more. We have a WhatsApp platform, and so most of the information will as well be communicated on the WhatsApp platform as well. I can see that someone is just asking about certificates. I know that from my experience, in most instances, they are interested in your transcript, not your certificate.
Yeah.
If you are applying for any institution, they are interested in your transcript, not your certificate. The certificate, they don't request for the certificate when you are submitting an application. So get the transcript. If you are in your final year, maybe your last semester, even if you are doing masters, you can still go ahead and then submit your application. There's also the possibility for you to switch from one program to the other. But that notwithstanding, when you are working on your statement of purpose and other work document, make sure that you tailor your document in line with the new program that you are interested in. Based on your experience, you draw connections between your experiences and the new program that you are interested in. And so that's all that I have. I don't know if anyone has any final words, and then we will call it a day. We spent almost 3 hours, over 3 hours. Wow. Yeah. If there is any final word from anyone, the person can go ahead and then chip it in. And then we end in the next 2 minutes. Someone is asking for mentorship. Personally, I'm busy now. So aside what we offer at the WhatsApp, I don't know for Moses, Daniel, Ebenezer. Yeah. I just posted the WhatsApp link in the Zoom chat. Yeah. If there are no questions or no other further input, we will call it a day. If you have more questions over time, you can go ahead and then also ask your questions on the WhatsApp platform. Thank you all for joining us today, and also thanks to our panel members, our brother Daniel, Moses, Ebenezer, our sister Esther, and also Kingsford. God bless you so much for the kind work and also for your commitment and time. I pray that whatever you lost for today, your time, energy, and everything, may the good Lord replenish them in abundance for you. May the peace and the grace of God be with you all. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.